This is Hino's the Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. We keeping the foot on the what? On the X. We keeping the foot on the what? On the X. We got Richy Rich. We got Jalik, the leader in the building. Everybody's going to be coming in. They're going to be showing up and showing out. We're going to get the salutations out the way. Jalik, the leader, what's up, man? How you doing, brother?
Yo, what's poppin',
Jalik, the
man?
leader in the building.
Shout out to
Everybody's going to
Rich.
be coming in. They're going to be showing up. How they got feedback?
Nigga, my
We'll
fault.
get the salutations out the way, Jalik.
Shout out to
Hey.
the sport. Shout out to Alaska. They got the salmon out there. They got the wolves and the bears. Richy Rich, I don't know where you at, Rich. But shout out to you,
I'm in
bro.
Florida.
You in Florida? Okay. You
Yeah.
got the crocodiles and everything, bro. Gators. I'm feeling amazing, bro.
That's what I'm talking about, man. We about to get into this stuff here, man. Richy Rich, what's up, man? Talk to the people.
What's up, man? Shout out to Egos. Thanks again for having me on the platform. Shout outs to Jalik, the leader, man. Good seeing you back on the show, man.
Yeah, I
You
appreciate
bring
it.
a good new energy to the show. You know, we appreciate you coming on again. Appreciate the people that's coming in through the chat. I'm excited. I know we're gonna do our thing on this show. We got a lot of good topics that we're gonna be able to talk about and discuss about and debate about, man. So I'm just ready. I'm pumped, man. So let's get this thing started.
All right, cool, bet. All right, now let's get on to it, man. First topic at hand, we got to talk about it. The Miami Heat, man, and the Milwaukee Bucks. That was a hell of a series. I already told you guys that I wasn't going to be watching basketball games. So I've been holding serve to that just with everything that's going on. So I catch the highlights on everything that's going on because you got to stay up to date, especially when you cover sports. You got to stay up to date on what's going on. So I catch the highlights. And in the highlights of what I've caught, it doesn't matter that Giannis Antetokounmpo got injured. The bottom line is the Milwaukee Bucks got exposed because the Milwaukee Bucks, they have a twofold problem. They lack the sum of all parts. And then the other issue is the fact that when you look at a guy like Chris Middleton, finally showed up, finally, but a day late and a dollar short. Let me say it again. It's a day late and a dollar short. Jimmy Butler needs to get all of the credit in the world because Jimmy Butler stepped up. Jimmy Butler found a home with the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler is right where he needs to be at. And when I look at the Miami Heat and I look at their team and I look at what their team encompasses, the Miami Heat is one player away from title contention. Let me say it again. They are one player away from title contention. They are a complete package team that needs one more piece to make that complete package certify. I don't know what position it needs to be. At this point, it seems like they have all their positions covered. I would think it would be a big man because they kind of look like they're undersized. But based on what I see when I look at the Miami Heat and I look at what the Miami Heat brings to the table, this is a team that's ready to show up. This is a team that's ready to show out, and they are a dark horse. Now, although I didn't get my prediction right in terms of the Miami Heat versus the Milwaukee Bucks, I did state that the Miami Heat was a dark horse team for people to watch out for. And hence, look what's happening. The dark horse team has basically came out, showed their tail, and they tucking their tail and they showing everybody what time it is. The Miami Heat's going to give teams problems. They're going to give teams fits because of the way that they are set up. But here's the thing. I feel like the NBA is running with this Lakers and this Celtics. I don't know. I'm smelling Lakers versus Celtics in the air. I don't know why, but I'm just smelling that for the ratings. And the reason why I'm saying that is because this season is a least path of resistance NBA title season. I'm still going to hold serve on that. It's a fraudulent, fluky, on-the-spot NBA title. And I don't like the way that everything came back in terms of the season restarting. I'm of the mindset and of the opinion that the season needed to start next year with everything that was going on, COVID-19, BLM, all of the things that you guys can think about, all the nuances. I was of that mindset that was what was going to actually happen, but it didn't. So the bottom line is this, and people got to understand, when we look at all of the nuances that's associated behind the Miami Heat, this team right here, Jimmy Butler needs to get respect put on his name because he's found a home with this team. He's showcasing his leadership, and he is basically that guy that people need to start respecting out here in these basketball streets, because Jimmy Butler's been getting a bad flack. He got a bad flack with the Philadelphia 76ers, basically not being a team player. Well, he's showcasing this with the Miami Heat. He got a bad flack with him basically being a guy that couldn't play with the Minnesota Timberwolves. He was the odd guy standing out. Well, look what he's doing with the Miami Heat. And he got flack with the Chicago Bulls back in that time frame with him and Derrick Rose, where there was like a proverbial bumping of the heads on who's the guy and who shouldn't be the guy. Jimmy Butler is that guy that Russell Westbrook and a James Harden will aspire to be. I'm going to say it again. Jimmy Butler is that guy that a Russell Westbrook and a James Harden aspires to be. He's that guy that barks like he's the man on the team, but in the right system and in the right scenario, he's showcasing that he can be that guy on that team. So Hkhs Sports going to give the Miami Heat an ultimate salute of the damn day, especially coming from born and raised in the 305. I'm happy that they've regalvanized themselves. And what Pat Riley's doing is he's giving LeBron the biggest slap in the damn face. Hey, we rebuild past your ass. It took us some time, but we rebuild. See, this is what a legendary coach turned president of operations does. Find a way to rebuild the team. Find a way to turn things around. And then the sum of all parts. You guys are seeing Eric Spoelstra's X's and O's. They're being showcased to you guys. He's a very good coach, a very technical coach. And the Miami Heat, the other two things about them that stands out is they're a well-conditioned basketball team, and they always come to play, and they always come to bring it. And that's what you're seeing with the sum of all parts. That's what you're seeing with the pieces. That's what you see that the Miami Heat is bringing to the table. But before I get through everyone and we start talking about the Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks, I got my boy Ben Castro in the building. Ben Castro, what's up, man?
I'm back. What up, everybody?
What's popping, bro?
Oh, nothing much. You know, just right now, just enjoying. Finally back here after being MIA for so long, though. But you know, glad to be here. Just trying to get the greetings and salutations out of the way. But yeah, it's great to be on the panel with you guys again. And welcome, Jalik. Glad to have you here. And we'll
nice meeting you, bro.
Oh, nice meeting you too, man. Nice meeting you too, man. Let's other than that, we'll just as we're continuing to wait for I think 2 more people to come in the panel. Yeah, hopefully this stream will be awesome today. So
that's what's up, Ben. That's what's up, man. I'm glad to have you, brother. I know you're gonna show up and show out, but yeah, let's get on to it, man. So Jalik the leader, what's your take on the Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks, bro?
Bro, first of all, I gotta eat crow, bro. I was looking at Jimmy like, bro, he's selfish. He want to be the only star. Why is he leaving Philly? They got the team there. They can do something, but he proved me wrong, bro. And I have to admit it, bro. I was like, why you want to go to Miami? I was like, he just want to be a star by himself. But bro, he definitely got my respect because I always liked Jimmy. When he was with Chicago, I liked Jimmy. You know what I mean? And he was always kind of underrated. Then he started to make himself into like an all-star. But now he, like you said, he showed that he worked on the mental aspect of the game. I always talk about the mental aspect as far as the training. It looked like he learned from the experience, not just in Philly, but also when he was in Minnesota, because they try to make him seem like he was being too tyrannical or whatever when the situation with Carl Anthony Towns in that practice with Andre Wiggins guy. So he looks like he sat down and he believed in his system with Spoelstra and Pat Riley, and then he definitely changed his game around. I like that he's real efficient. He don't need to shoot a whole lot of baskets. And like you always emphasize on here is defense. He definitely plays defense. And that 2011 draft, him, Kawhi, and Klay Thompson, 2-way players, he's definitely doing his thing. And like you said, I believe that they're at least 1 player away. Now, I'm not sure. I will have to look at the contract situation to see who's up, because I'm hearing that Grogic is on a trading block, or, you know, because they can only pay a certain amount of people. But I definitely believe that they're going to need a big man. And I called them the Eastern Conference version of the Nuggets. And I know you're going to get in that later too. But they definitely need a big man. I will have to see who's the free agents is on there because somebody definitely gonna be getting traded. But yeah, that's you basically said everything I was thinking. I was like, wow, Jimmy is doing this thing, and not just Jimmy too. The other players are stepping up as well. They don't give up. Like they got the underdog mentality, and not only that, they really believe that they can beat either Toronto or the Celtics, though. So shout out to Jimmy, bro.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Richy Rich, what's your take on the Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks, man?
Yeah, first up, man, what's up, Ben? How you doing, man? Ben, salute you. Good to have you back, bro. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, man, the Miami Heat, man, Jimmy Butler, you got to give it to him. That man, he didn't have a good rap in the league, man, because of his situation on those past teams, Chicago, Minnesota, and Philly. But I kind of got why Jimmy left Philly, because that head coach that was coaching the team, the one that they fired about a month ago, Brett Brown, man, he wasn't holding Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid accountable. So that he had like a podcast with JJ Redick, and he was explaining why he left the 76ers, and he brought up the fact that Brett Brown wasn't holding those guys accountable. Those guys weren't getting better as a tandem. So he didn't see he didn't really see a future in Philly for him, because if Brett Brown stayed there, he didn't want to be there. So that's the reason why he left. He wanted to seek out an organization, man, that was going to hold their players accountable, like the Miami Heat. Miami Heat don't play around. They hold you accountable. You can't go into camp out of shape, because Pat Riley and Spoelstra, they ain't going to play you until you get in shape. And you know, their emphasis, they put a very important emphasis on playing defense. If you can't play defense, you're not going to get minutes on that team. Or if you don't make an effort to play defense, you're not going to get minutes on that team. So that's the guys they go out. They were able to get Jimmy, and Jimmy fits into that culture because they want hard workers. They want guys that's going to give everything when they're on the floor. They're going to leave everything on the floor. You know, Jimmy, he may not be as good as a Kawhi Leonard or Kevin Durant or LeBron James, but if you can't get those guys, Jimmy is the next tier of player that you would want, man, because you know what you're getting. You're getting a guy that's going to give you his all. He's a two-way player. He got dog in him. He's not gonna back down from a challenge, and that's the type of player you want. He's gonna thrive in a Heat culture, a Heat system, which he's showing right now. And you know, he made a lot of people eat crow, because look where the Miami Heat are right now. They're back in the Eastern Conference Finals, man, with Jimmy leading that team. And you know, those guys, they follow him, man. They follow him. So he is the undisputed leader of that basketball team. Plus, I believe the moves that they made, like towards like the end of the season, when they acquired Andre Iguodala and Jay Crowder, man, that made them a more versatile team. You saw it in this series right here. Jimmy don't really have to expend so much energy on the defensive end. He still plays defense, but when you got guys like Jay Crowder, Andre Iguodala, they give you the extra, you know, they give him like a resting period where he can just focus on more on the offensive end. He don't got to give it his all on the defensive end, because you see what Jay Crowder's doing out there. That man is playing defense. They set up that wall when Giannis was playing. They had a good system in place, and you saw what Iguodala was doing. They give Jimmy that period where he don't have to like burn as much energy on the defensive end. Plus, Iguodala gives him another ball handler. This is why Golden State Warriors was so good. They were a very versatile team. You had multiple guys that could run the rock, and you had multiple guys that could play defend multiple positions. It's why the Heat are doing what they're doing, because they got multiple guys that could that could run the point, and they got multiple guys that could play 2 or 3 positions. They could switch on defense. They could guard 1 through 3. So it's the reason why we see the Heat doing what they're doing. When you're the most versatile team, and when you're one of the most versatile teams in the NBA, you're always going to go deep in the postseason.
Mm-hmm. That's facts. That's facts. Ben Castro, what's your take on it, man? Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks. What's your overall take on that series, man?
Okay, I'm gonna start off with the Milwaukee Bucks. Considering the point guard position, why? Oh, why? I'm hearing background right now. Can you? Is it okay if you mute yourself, please? All right, thank you. Anyways, going back to what I'm saying with the Bucks, just to address the point guard position, excuse me. Why would the Bucks, the organization, would let go Malcolm Brogdon? You got Eric Bledsoe as the main point guard. I mean, okay, nothing wrong with Bledsoe. That guy's a freaking savage. But his style of playing the point is more like a 2 guard, more like a hard-nosed, slashing, scoring guard. He's not a traditional point guard like Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon fits that mold. He fits that category. He does operate on both ends of the court. He could shoot, he could pass, he could defend, and then all of a sudden you let him go, and then he's flourishing with the Pacers. I think that needs to be addressed. And I heard that there's a word that they're trying to get CP3 in that deal, which it's uncertain at this point, or unknown at this point. And then for Giannis, first off, Giannis, congratulations for making the decision to stay, but I hope you live up to your word, man, because I've been saying this to you over and over again. You need to work on your game, man. You need to work on your damn game, especially that jump shot. You don't have a jump shot. I'm not talking about the threes, shooting threes. I'm talking about like the total package of a jump shot. Kind of like what Kawhi is doing, kind of like what Paul George is doing, kind of like what Kevin Durant was doing. Not only from the 3, but from the top of the key, mid range, long 2s, you name it, pull up jumpers, you name it, right? I just hope he works on his game this offseason because he has plenty of time on his hands, and no excuses. No excuses. Giannis, you said that you're 66% of your game completed. Please show me that you're working on your game for real this time. Come off season, you gotta work on your game. If you really want to stay with the Bucks, you have to evolve your game even more. Don't be like Donovan Mitchell, who's one-dimensional and has been the same Donovan Mitchell since year 1. Don't do that. Anyways, now to the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler, man, that guy's a freaking savage. I think he has finally found a home with the Heat. Big shout out to Pat Riley, Coach Spo, and the entire organization. Alonzo Mourning, all of those who really pushed the button to get Jimmy Butler to Miami. And they got guys like Iguodala, who's a well-known veteran who's been there before. It really showed the young Bucks on how to get the job done. And then you got this guy, Jay Crowder, you got Tyler Hero, got Bam Adebayo. Man, yeah, man, the sky's the limit, man. But I don't know what the Heat will do in the offseason, but I like the direction that they're going. And hopefully, whoever the Heat faces, I hope the Heat goes to the finals. So unless I have something else in my mind, I'll leave it at that. Take it away, guys.
What's up? Lewis, man, what's going on, brother? How you doing today?
Doing great. He knows, man. Salute to you, Jalik, Richy, Rich, and Ben Castro, man. Appreciate you guys for having me on, as always, man.
Okay, that's what's up, man. So, yeah, man, let's get your take on it, man. The Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, the fact that they closed them out in 5 games, that is an interesting situation right there. The Miami Heat has risen from the ashes as the dark horse in basketball. We got to give them credit because they've turned things around and they've showcased themselves as a team to be reckoned with. And I just feel like they are one person away from being in title contention. So what's your take on the series, and where do you see the Miami Heat's overall ceiling is going to be when it's all said and done?
I was doing some of the games of the series, and when I looked at that series, I said to myself, I said, I probably picked the Bucks probably in a close series, just as long as I said it was going to be competitive, though, and I said that I wouldn't be surprised if Miami ended up winning that series. I said maybe 7 games. I said it was probably going to go 7. I said the Bucks were probably going to edge it out because I honestly said that this was going to be a tough matchup for them because, again, they got the defensive pedigree to guard Giannis Antetokounmpo because the key thing, and I've said this many times coming into the postseason, even before the season started, I said is the key's going to be is can Giannis shoot well enough into where they're going to have to adjust their defense? Then when they decide to trap him and get the ball out of his hands, can Chris Middleton and guys like Eric Bledsoe, can they beat you? And the obvious answer was no. And then on top of that, Giannis, got hurt. Some people were kind of making excuses a bit, in that series. And I'm like, you can't get an excuse because they were losing with Giannis anyway. I also got to get on Coach Budenholzer because he never really made adjustments. And I looked at him and I'm like, this is the Mike D'Antoni of the Eastern Conference. He's a great regular season coach, but he showed me that he just doesn't know how to make adjustments in the playoffs, especially when you're going against, much better competition. And I knew the Bucks were in trouble from the minute that Orlando took that, first game. And then in game 5, they were still having problems even trying to close them out, even though they finished them off in 5 games. So I said, if they end up facing Miami, I said, this is going to spell trouble. And I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Miami would beat them in. I picked the Bucks in 7, but I said, if I was to make another pick, I said, I could see the Heat beating them in like 6 games. Like, I honestly could see that. And when you honestly look at everything, man, listen, we got to give the Heat a lot of credit. I said that this team was the dark horse team coming into this season. And a lot of what Richy Rich touched on is true. The reason that Jimmy Butler didn't want to stay in Philly was obviously because of the fact that Brett Brown did not hold his star players accountable, his young stars. It was also because of the front office too, man, because if you know Jimmy Butler, he's about culture. Can he be a diva at times? Absolutely. And he can cause a show sometimes in the locker room. But what Jimmy cares about is, man, Jimmy wants to win. So, and I thought that the culture is tailor-made for him. And when I look at a Giannis Antetokounmpo, listen, man, you won back-to-back MVPs, you put up great statistics, you even won Defensive Player of the Year. But none of that doesn't mean anything if you don't win the championship, especially because Kawhi Leonard is not on the Raptors anymore. Danny Green is not on the Raptors anymore. So the Bucks had no excuses because they were looked at as the team to beat to get to the finals, and they failed miserably. Last year's team was better. There was no Malcolm Brogdon this year, so that it hurts. You're missing a guy with a high intelligent IQ. Another thing is, when was the last time Eric Bledsoe actually had a 20-point game in a playoff game, especially with these Bucks? Because the only thing that Eric Bledsoe proved to me is that he's not a half-court player, and he's just not a very good playoff performer. And he gets his points really more so in transition because he can't shoot consistently. And when he was putting up numbers in Phoenix, they had losing seasons. So now that he was in an actual winning environment and got better with the Bucks, that obviously it got exposed in the playoffs. I mean, he got outplayed by Terry Rozier. Let's keep it 100. And y'all know how I feel about Terry Rozier. I mean, but he got outplayed by him, and he has not been able to put the numbers. And I said Chris Middleton is not a legit number 2. He's just not comfortable in that role. And if you watch that series, Middleton was doing way too much things that are out of his comfort zone. To me, he's a guy that he's a come off the screens type of guy and get his shot off. He can shoot a little bit mid-range, but when you're asking him to create, especially when he really can't get away from a defender and really create his own shot like that consistently, that's why when they're saying, well, Middleton was putting up numbers in the regular season, I said, that's great. But my thing is, you could tell somebody differently from the regular season and the playoffs. Does your game get better? Does your game stay about the same, or does your game get worse? And Middleton has proven in the last 2 seasons, last 3 seasons, his game gets worse. And it's the same thing with Eric Bledsoe. And in terms of Miami, I mean, listen, man, you got to give Jimmy Butler a lot of credit. The leadership they shown. This is such a versatile team because you was able to get Iguodala, man, in the in the trade. You got Solomon Hill. He hasn't really played, but you get Jay Crowder. guys who could defend at a high level, guys who can hit the three. Tyler Hero's been great. Kendrick Nunn hasn't really played a lot, but I know that he's going to get better, when he gets more seasoning, because this has only been his rookie season. Duncan Robinson, Goran Dragic, man, with the veteran player that he is, but he's still, producing himself at a high level. But, you have to give them a lot of credit. And I just think that the Miami Heat, their culture was tailor-made for Jimmy Butler. It was tailor-made. This is the type of team he wants to be on. You look at this Miami Heat team, they're a superstar away from becoming championship contenders. And the crazy part is, whether they play Boston or whether they play Toronto, they got an opportunity to get to the finals even without a superstar. Now, will they get there? Time is going to tell. But they got an opportunity to get there. And nobody expected this team to do as well as they have this season. But I said with the pieces they had that they were going to be a dark horse. And what do we know about Eric Spoelstra's teams? Whether they miss the playoffs or they make the playoffs, they always compete at a high level. They consistently play hard. They have great conditioning. They hold their players accountable. You couldn't say that about a team like Philadelphia because they have a terrible front office. I question some of the decisions Elton Brand made. And then on top of that, Brett Brown was too soft on his superstars. So they pretty much got to play the way that they wanted to. And, that's the reason why they're not as good as people overhyped them, especially in the media with Philadelphia, because they had the talent, but they have such a bad front office, some turmoil, that it was just turned off by a lot of players. So, I mean, and they lost a lot of talent. They lost Covington. They lost Dario Saric. They lost J.J. Redick. You end up losing Jimmy Butler free agency, but it's because their front office is a dumpster fire. And at the end of the day, listen, I said this before and I'll say it again. I'm going to close it with this. I got a funny feeling that Giannis is going to be a member of the Miami Heat. People could call me crazy, but I got a feeling he's going to be there because there's a lot of reliable options. Because if you look at the way Miami plays, they have three-point shooting. And if you look at Giannis's play style, so Ben was saying that Giannis definitely needs to get better, and I agree with that. Like I said, just, get yourself a little bit of a mid-range to extend the defense, because they're not going to extend if you can't improve that jump shot. If you improve that jump shot, you extend the defense. The defense now has to play more further than what they really want, because what they want to do is pack the paint, and Giannis, you beat us from the outside. And if you get hot and we decide to trap you, somebody else has got to beat us. And right now, when you look at the Bucks team, all I heard was they got all this firepower and all this kind of stuff. But it's like, when you really boil down to it, it's not. It's really smoke and mirrors when you look at that team. It's a regular season team that plays really hard. But again, you face the right type of team. You put the right kind of scheme. Milwaukee got exposed yet again. So I think in closing, I personally believe that Giannis is most likely going to be a member of the Miami Heat because they have the shooting to complement his play style. I think that he should improve his jumper, at least get himself a little bit of mid-range. Also work a little bit on post-game, because then that way you'll be able to see the floor better. You'll be able to get double teams, and then you'll be able to kick out to those shooters. And I'm not saying that I want him to go there, but I'm just saying if there's a team that kind of fits Giannis' style of play, and because also Giannis does defend, it would be the Miami Heat when all things considered. The media wants, especially Stephen A. Smith, wants him to go to Golden State, but he's contradicting himself and being a hypocrite with that. But if there's one team that I think that Giannis probably would best suit when you look at the style of play, especially to his style, it'd be Miami. So, but yeah, man, that series was a little bit disappointing because I thought the Bucks would show more fight, but I thought they got their soul snatched right after Miami took those first two games. And kudos to the Miami Heat. And I know Giannis is going to stay, but I don't know if he's going to live up to those words, because how many times have we heard players say that and then, ends up going different, especially with the last couple of superstars. But that's my take on it.
That's facts, man. We'll let Big Castro get in this last round, and then we're going to go to the next topic. What you got to say, Ben?
Yeah, chiming in what AD was saying. I'm sorry, not AD, Lewis. yeah, Lewis. My bad, man. I'm just because it's too bad you didn't have your face cam on, because you do remind me of Anthony Davis, dude. Like, in all seriousness, no disrespect, man. All right. Anyways, chime in what Lewis was saying. I could see Giannis, if he does make a decision to leave, I could see him go to the Heat. Yeah, I'm right now. I'm skeptical of what Giannis was saying. He said he's gonna. He said he's gonna stay, but I to me, I doubt it now because what Lewis was saying, he's spot on. If he's gonna if he's gonna pursue free agency, I say go to the Heat. Of course, there's other two teams, the Raptors and the Mavericks. Take out Golden State. That's not gonna happen. I doubt that's gonna happen. But the Heat, the Raptors, or the Mavs, I say go to the Miami Heat. But in order for that to happen, of course, I don't know who the Heat are going to give up to get Giannis because Giannis has to be asking for a trade in order for that to happen. But if he does go there, Giannis has to reduce his role to a number 2 behind Jimmy Butler, if you know what I mean, right? Mm-hmm. Imagine that would have happened. Like Giannis should be sacrificing his role to a Scottie Pippen. It's basically to a Giannis Pippen, to a Jimmy Jordan. You know what I mean? So Jimmy Jordan.
Jordan, all right.
yeah, you know. So if Giannis was to leave, I would see him go to the Miami Heat. I mean, come on, you got the best organization. You got the owner Pat Riley, Lonzo Mourning, part of the front office. You got Coach Spo, a well-experienced head coach who won multiple championships. I mean, you can't pass that up, man. If I was Giannis, yeah. But still, obviously, Giannis has to work on his game still. And also he has to reduce his role to a beta, a number 2. Basically, have Giannis be Giannis Pippen to Jimmy Jordan. You know what I mean? So that's all I got to say about that.
All right, that's what's up, man. So let's jump on to the next topic and let's talk about it, man. The Western Conference, we got the Los Angeles Lakers and we got the Houston Rockets. Obviously, the Lakers, they struck hard the last game. Bottom line is we're looking at the Lakers 2-1 to the Rockets 1-2. I just don't see in any scenario where the Houston Rockets has any chance of beating the Los Angeles Lakers just off of the strength of I can't trust James Harden and I can't trust Russell Westbrook, especially the both of them on the same team. You're talking about two guys that are, ball possession dominant. They basically hog up the possession anywhere between 20 to 23 seconds per possession. And then when they have the basketball in their hands, they go into familiarity where they breed complacency of either James Harden is playing ISO basketball or Russell Westbrook is just Russell Westbrooking everything in the situation. So what we saw in Game 3 was Russell Westbrook return back to his Westbrook tendencies and break shots instead of getting the team involved. He has an integral position as a point guard to ensure that his team is doing what they're supposed to, especially with him averaging triple doubles where he's shown you high assist ratio. What I'm surprised about is how he's not going into that and how after all of these years of mistakes that he's made with Kevin Durant, you would think this is his second win, or this is his second lifeline in basketball. You would think he would get things together. But it's basically the same old with Russell Westbrook and James Harden. They both play to where it's a situation of anything you can do, I can do better. And coupling that with the fact that Rajon Rondo has emerged and he's playing basketball, and then you look at the Lakers and what they bring to the table from a LeBron and an AD standpoint, I just can't see any scenario where the Houston Rockets win this series. And then the calling card is James Harden. James Harden hasn't proven himself in the NBA playoffs. To me, he's a basketball Tony Romo, a.k.a. Zab Judah. Every time this guy is given the opportunity to show up, he gives you front runner display of he can score offensively, he can put the ball in the basket, but he's allergic on the defensive side of the ball. And then on top of that, he doesn't show up when it matters. And he's just basically looking at the referees to give you calls. See, this is the NBA playoffs. This is where legends are made. And when you get to the NBA playoffs, there's a sense of urgency that you have to have. especially when you have a star tag on your back. This is why, he knows the sport is not fond of a James Harden or not fond of a, Luka Doncic, not fond of a Dame Dollar, because these guys, when it all matters, offense gets the glory, but defense wins championships. And there's a reason why defensive-minded teams always get over the hump. There's a reason why when defensive-minded teams step up, and show out, they're always there at the end of the dance. When we look at the Los Angeles Lakers and we look at the Houston Rockets, the Los Angeles Lakers are a better defensive team. They run better defensive sequences. They run better defensive strategies. They're a better defensive X's and O's team. And they know how to manage the basketball better than the Houston Rockets. This is weird coming from me, especially saying this about a LeBron James. But in this scenario, I can't help but to call a spade here. LeBron is superior to James Harden. And if I have to pick between LeBron and James Harden, I'm going to run with LeBron all day, every day. I'm always going to look at who is the biggest common denominator player that impacts the game from a more common denominator perspective. And when we look at it in terms of these two guys and how they are ball dominant and how they manage the game, LeBron just does it a little bit better than James Harden. So because of that, and then compass with the fact that Anthony Davis is virtually unstoppable in this series, the Los Angeles Lakers are primed to win this series. I got them winning anywhere between 5 to 6 games. But I want your take, Jalik, on this series, man, with the Los Angeles Lakers and the Houston Rockets. How you see this thing playing out?
The same. Oh, it's an echo. Russell Westbrook. I've been messing with Russell Westbrook 08, 09 in Harden, and I knew, So, but you got to keep it 100, even if it's your favorite player. Nobody holds them accountable. Everybody that coaches them is afraid of them. They need a coach that hurt their feelings, get out of their feelings, because they playing off an instinct and athleticism. They not actually thinking. Like, you can just tell, like, they just go there. They're not thinking. IQ is always going to outdo athleticism and just playing off of instincts and playing hard. Russell Westbrook has a great work ethic, but it's about being smart, not playing hard. A lot of times it's not necessary for him to be so aggressive. So he hasn't figured out the mental aspects of it, and he has a gimmick coach, and that's just not going to help him out. So I picked the Lakers to win in 5 or 6. I don't trust them. Like, I just can't trust them. Like you said, the hot man could be Eric Gordon. So instead of them just feeding Eric Gordon and feeding the other hot players, they'll do something real wild and just real hyper. And I really believe that James Harden, he might not be saying it, but he might secretly have a problem with food binging, because for him to be doing that supposedly workout in Arizona, but if you look at him, he looked like he actually gained 10 pounds. Something is going on, and part of playing defense is your conditioning. Now, Westbrook conditioning is amazing, but mentally, he still hasn't figured it out yet. And nobody is going to ever hold him accountable. And people is afraid to hurt his feelings because he is emotional. I don't know if you guys, I'm not an expert at it, but I don't know if you guys know about water signs. He's a Scorpio, so water signs is usually even more emotional. So if you look into that one and you peep out his personality, and I know I can just tell the way he responds to things that nobody holds him accountable. He holds himself accountable. Nobody is there to tell him, look, because they're afraid of him. So with that formula, and it's just, I be honest with you, I think they should break the team up, to be really honest with you, because they're not going to win. They barely got past the first round. So to have all that talent, and then you got to be wondering, like, wow, they got way less superstars in Miami, but these guys is going to the Eastern Conference Finals. But I know it's different divisions, but I would break the team up, to be really honest with you. But they love stats. You know what I mean? They love stats. They love for him to get all these triple doubles, and it's all cool for Harden. And soon when the playoffs come, it's a whole new different ball game. So I would break the team up. And I'll be surprised if they win another game, so that they might get them out of there in 5, because they just not as smart as far as playing with their IQ. And basketball is a game of runs and momentum, so they just don't got it. That's my take on it.
That's what's up. So, Richie Rich, what's your take on it, man? With the Los Angeles Lakers and the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, man. I mean, both of you guys just pretty much came out with great points all across the board about the issue with James Harden and Russell Westbrook. Man, these guys, it's too much redundancy, man. Like 5 years looking in, man, we still see the same player from those two. Like I don't see nothing changed up from those guys. They still play the same type of game, you know. And that's the issue, man. Like Jalik, the leader, was saying, it's the coaches that we've seen. I mean, there was one coach that held James Harden accountable, but he got rid of him. It was Kevin McHale.
Mhm.
You know, he told Harden, man, that he needs that style of game that he plays is not going to work. He needs to work on his overall offensive game. And James Harden, you know, he got rid of him. He went to the front office and he had them get rid of Kevin McHale because those guys are emotional, man. Him and Westbrook. You know, you say something bad about those guys, man, it's like they throw a tantrum. Like you could tell Chris Paul, there's a reason why, you know, James Harden had that issue with Chris Paul, because Chris Paul told him about himself. And after that, their relationship was irreparable, man, because these guys don't like hearing the truth about their game. They don't want to switch up what they are. This is why they're not going to win against the Lakers. If I was any of those two, man, LeBron beat you guys in the 2012 finals. Ever since that moment, I look at their former teammate, Kevin Durant. Ever since that moment that he lost to LeBron, he was trying to get back to play LeBron again in that setting. And you saw what KD did. KD, like he knows me saying, gave him that crooked letter eye. When he got his chance to see LeBron James in that final setting, KD outplayed him, man, and he got 2 Finals MVPs off that man. When Kawhi Leonard lost to LeBron James in 2004, you know, Kawhi was only a second-year player in the league. But what happened the year after that? Kawhi came back, got a Finals MVP on LeBron, won a championship on him. It's the difference between those guys and James Harden and Russell Westbrook. These guys are MVP level players, man, but don't have the MVP level mindset, the MVP level mentality. They have the physical talent, but the mental, they don't possess it, man, because you see it. These guys, they look aloof. When that pressure's on, you saw how LeBron James was responding in that game 3. This man was embarrassing these guys. Every chance he blocked like Russell Westbrook 3 times. I didn't see Russell Westbrook try to get back at LeBron in that game. He's just making silly decision after silly decision, trying to overforce the issue, creating turnovers, when taking shots when he doesn't need to take shots. James Harden not being assertive. I don't know. It could be a issue with his conditioning, but that's just another excuse. Listen, man, this is for all the marbles. If you want to reach another level in this game, you got to be able to beat the guys that beat you before. If he may not go on to win a championship, but if he beats LeBron James, perception-wise, that's a big boost to his confidence. Because LeBron James beat him in the 2012 finals. If you come back and you get back and you beat this guy, you're like, okay, all right. No, I can beat the bully. I can beat the bully. I can beat that guy that was in front of me. Him and Westbrook, that's the thing. Their whole approach is warped, man. I don't get these guys. And what's not helping them is they're playing for a gimmick coach that doesn't make no adjustments. Because you saw Lakers adjusted after game 1 when they got blown out by 15 points. They realized they had to switch it up. They had to play small. And the Lakers can play small ball. But you see they're bringing it on the defensive end. They're throwing doubles at James Harden. They're leaving Westbrook wide open for jump shots. They don't respect him. And he's proving them right because he's not hitting those shots. You know, Eric Gordon is doing his thing, man, but the thing is, it's coming down to who are the better tandem. And it's clearly we clearly see that it's LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Those guys are the best tandem in this series, and they're going to win because they've outclassed these guys already two out of the 3 games that they played. The first game, James Harden and Russell Westbrook showed up, but LeBron James and AD they came to play in these last 2 games. I'm looking at these dudes to see if they got balls, man. If they're gonna show up or not. If it's gonna be the same old with these guys, because somebody need to get in them, man, and tell them like, listen, man, you guys are MVPs of the league. You are of the elite class in this game. When they say top 5, top 10, you guys are in that bracket. Show me something. Show me that you can hang with LeBron and AD. Show me that you could go at LeBron. There's just no like want in these guys. I just don't get it. If they can't get it done now, then yeah, I agree with Jalik the leader. They gotta blow it up, man, because these guys are not gonna win. What happens when Golden State Warriors improve their team next year? And they're right back into the thick of things. You know, the Clippers are gonna be there. The Lakers are gonna be there. Denver's, you know, they're gonna be there. Portland gonna be there. The West is gonna be a lot tougher next year, and I feel that Houston, man, they're gonna get left behind because their stars, they're not proving us right because it's the same old. These guys, that's the problem with a lot of these players in the NBA. It's not just James Harden, Russell Westbrook. You know, it's Giannis. Some of these guys, man, they're not really working on their games, their overall games, man, and the product is hurting because of it. These guys were supposed to win with the hype that they got. These guys are supposed to go deeper than where they're at, man. You know, it's too much of the same stuff from some players in the game.
Great point. Great points. Ben Castro, what's your take on the situation, man?
Between the Lakers and Rockets?
Yes, sir.
To make it short and sweet for both teams, the Lakers, like you said, he knows, and I've been you know, keeping this in mind for a while now. The NBA, they're gonna make Lakers and Clippers in the conference finals, no doubt about it. Because I think that because of the ratings being not what it's supposed to be, I think having that matchup between 2 LA teams will really boost the ratings up a little bit. So I believe in that. And whether this series go 5, 6, or even 7 games, you know, it's gonna be Lakers at the end of the day. I think the Lakers know what they gotta do to win. As far as the Rockets are concerned, when you have 2 guys in James Harden and Russell Westbrook in the same team, like I said before, there will be a time where those 2 are gonna be bumping heads. I don't know when, but it's coming. So, and with a system in Mike D'Antoni, more often than not, of course, in the regular season it works, but come playoff time, it's been proven over and over again that doesn't work, and he has a history of doing that. So, and speaking of the Rockets organization, I don't know. Daryl Morey's got to go. Daryl Morey's got to go, and that team needs to be blown up and start from scratch again. I mean, this Rockets team used to be one of the most well-known franchises, you know, back in the 90s with Hakeem and everyone else here, but it's a laughing stock. And Daryl Morey's an idiot. He has to go. Blow this team up. I'm done.
Great points, Ben. Lewis, man, what's your take on the Lakers and the Rockets, bro?
Oh man, everybody pretty much made great points. This whole Laker Rockets series thing, I didn't even entertain it because I honestly said that this was going to be done in 5 games. And the reason I said 5 games is because I was kind of comparing it kind of like the Portland Trailblazers, to be honest with you. It's just the Rockets are just a little bit better version of the Blazers. And the reason I say that is because the Rockets are just too idiotic to play through when understanding with the fact that Daryl Morey was the one that constructed this team together. And like I said before, D'Antoni to me is Daryl Morey's puppet because this is not the way that D'Antoni plays. And even if you want to, and even if he goes back to his coaching style, it's not conducive to winning anyway. It's good for the regular season. You're lucky enough if you get to a conference finals, which D'Antoni's done a couple of times, but it's when those games get tight and you can't make those necessary adjustments. That's why I say him and Mike Budenholzer are kind of the same. They could get you a great amount of wins, man, but the mark of a great coach is being able to adjust to what the team is doing at the other end, man. And it's what Jalik was saying, man. It's IQ. And when I look at Russell Westbrook and James Harden, these are two players that have been in the league for 10 plus years in the league, 10 plus. And it's like what Jalik was saying. It's like nobody has held those guys accountable. And if you look at Westbrook is somebody that doesn't want to get that objective, constructive criticism. He'll criticize himself so that nobody else has to tell him on what he thinks he should be doing. So then he tries to make it personal. And then what makes it worse is he takes himself out of game sometimes because it's his own ego when he tries to put all this pressure on himself that actually sometimes makes him play even worse. And Westbrook is still playing at 120 miles an hour. And I've said this constantly all the time. I said you cannot win a championship with Westbrook because he still has not learned how to slow the game down mentally, where even though you're playing fast, you'll be able to change gears. You'll be able to see the game a lot slower. And like, that's what the greats have done. That's what you have to learn. It's like you're able to put up individual numbers. Like Russell could put up great numbers. Same thing with James Harden. The thing with James Harden's issue for me really is more so effort. He's very lazy. I mean, Russell Westbrook, you could put him in the same boat too. It's like Russell will challenge himself when he gets criticized by like a media member or what's not. Like he'll answer to you in a volatile way. Like, you can't tell me nothing what to do because I play basketball. What do you do? But it's like, yo, bro, like, do you see how you're playing? And it's like this dude is averaging 5 turnovers a game in this series. That just lets you know that he still has not learned how to control the ball. He just doesn't have good ball control. And it's like I just look at this Houston Rockets team. It's like they're just against the Lakers. The Lakers have made the adjustments. Frank Vogel's done an excellent job. You got to give Rondo a lot of credit as well for him coming in, because I thought the way he played in Game 3 was huge. That took actually pressure off of LeBron. LeBron could actually play more off ball, and you see how much more intensity LeBron has on the defensive end too. I mean, LeBron's always been a capable defender. So, in his prime, he was one of the best in the league. But I'm saying when he doesn't have to pretty much carry the offense, and you see a guy like Rondo come in and just pretty much orchestrate, LeBron, like you was mentioning, he knows. He blocked Russell Westbrook, 3 times in that last game? So
3 times.
And they don't have anybody to contend with LeBron or AD. They just don't. Those are 2 mismatches they can't deal with. And the Lakers are just an overall better team. Like Ben was saying, like everybody wants to see that Lakers, Clippers, Western Conference Finals. Because if you look at right now, the ratings are down and they're trying to boost the ratings a bit. So it's going to be the Battle of LA. That's going to be, everybody's going to be invested in that, especially the Lakers and Clippers fans, because they're going to try to see which LA team is the best. So like I said, I want Westbrook and James Harden to win a championship. My problem is that they're high octane betas that they just need that proper coaching, bro. It's like they need somebody who's really going to be stern to the point. It's like, I don't care if you want to act like a prima donna. This is the way we're going to do it. If you don't like it, you could just get up on the hell out of here. Right. And Daryl Morey does need to get fired, to be honest, because if you just listening to the way he talks, man, I don't even feel like he even believes the stuff that he says. He's really delusional, man. If you look at all the championships won, like you always say, he knows offense gets the glory, defense wins the championships. And I'm sorry, but this Houston Rockets team, people are praising them all, looking at this level of defense that they're playing. But I'm telling you right now, they'll probably get enough. Listen, in order for them to make this a series, they got to win tonight. They don't win tonight, this is over in 5. I don't care what anybody says. The Lakers are just that much better right now. And like I said, LeBron over James Harden any day. I'm sorry. Any day. They're just this team is so attached to analytics, like Jalik was saying, that I just don't see this team going by to get a championship. And they're going to have to break the team up, because remember, Chris Paul got the blame for why the Rockets didn't go far in 2019. So I'm saying if they don't go far this year, you're going to blame Russell Westbrook, because apparently it's going to be his fault. And like Richy Rich saying, I don't know what's going on with Harden, but I know he got injured a little bit in that last game. But again, you can't use that as an excuse, because, you had 5 months off. So you really should have been trying to condition yourself getting ready. I know, listen, bubble play is weird for everybody. But if you look at the Lakers, they've made their adjustments. They're playing with intensity. And I'm not really seeing that with the Houston Rockets right now. So if they really want to make this a series and really make the Lakers sweat for it, they got to win tonight. So they got to come out. I got to see more. Russell's got to take care of the ball. He's got to stop taking 3-pointers and make sure that he gets the shots that he's supposed to take. And I got to see him compete on the defensive end, because every time Russell goes down the floor, I'm going to make this quote real quick. Russell Westbrook told the media after, I think it was game 2 or game 3, he says, I've been running around and I don't even know what I'm really doing out there. That should be concerning for a team that's supposed to be challenged in LA, and people saying, oh, watch the Rockets knock off the Lakers. No. If you're running around in circles doing nothing, you can't talk about Pat Beverly, and you're a superstar, Russell Westbrook. So you can't be talking about Pat Bev. He's a role player. Yeah, he's made some defensive teams, but that's on you, man. You got to take accountability for that. And the fact that Mike D'Antoni doesn't see, Mike D'Antoni reminds me of Billy Donovan. They're the type of coaches that like players that they don't have to really deal with. They can't deal with strong personalities. Strong personality players, they're going to stay away from. They're not even going to touch them, because it's like they don't want to have an issue. They don't want it to eventually lead up to the media. You need like I said, your mental has to match your physical gifts. If your mental does not match your physical game, I don't care what happens, man. You're never going to achieve greatness as an individual, and then obviously with the team to win a championship. So I think I don't know what's going to happen in game 4, but if the Houston Rockets don't make any adjustments, they don't come at the Lakers like they're going to let them know that they're going to at least try to attempt to win this series, which I think they won't. The Lakers, I got the Lakers in 5, honestly. If it goes 6, it goes 6, but they don't win tonight. Like he knows likes to say, they're going to ram-a-lang all over the Houston Rockets. That's all they're going to do. They're just going to ram-a-lang all over them, man, and just get ready. Because if you look at the Clippers, I'm looking at that Denver Nuggets team, man, and they're kind of fine-tuning themselves defensively. Offensively, they still got some things that they need to work on, obviously, but they're starting to fine-tune themselves defensively a little bit. So that's why it's going to be an interesting series coming up between the two LA teams, and that's my take on it.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Boy, y'all bringing that heat and that fire, boy. Y'all keeping the foot on the what? On the next. Y'all keeping the foot on the what? On the next. Anthony L, man, what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How's everybody doing on the panel and in the chat? Hope everybody's doing good, and appreciate you, He Knows, for inviting me back.
So we're going to let you go ahead and get your little 2 cents in on the 2 series that we talked about. We talked about the Miami Heat, we talked about the Milwaukee Bucks, and then we talked about the Lakers and the Houston Rockets. What's your take on those 2 series?
Well, I've been listening to a lot of the commentary on it. Of course, I still haven't been watching. I've been staying steady with it. I haven't been watching any of the games, at least live on television, but I have been keeping up with a lot of the commentary on YouTube. And so based off, the commentary that I've been hearing, and all of the pre-knowledge that I already have regarding these teams, everything is coming into place as we already predicted what was going to happen with these teams. As far as Milwaukee, we knew that they were going to get eliminated. There's a lot more things that Giannis needs to work on in terms of his game. I don't know if Hakeem is still available, but if Hakeem is still available and he's still doing sessions, we need Giannis to go hit up Hakeem during the offseason and work on his post game, because he definitely gotta tighten that up and add a few more things to his arsenal in the post. That front office, because from what I'm hearing, I understand Milwaukee is trying to lock him up long term on one of those mega contracts, and that's cool and all, but even though Giannis has to show that he can improve his skill set, management have to do their job as well and put the right pieces around him. Put a point guard around him that's number one, has basketball IQ, number 2 can defend, and then number 3, and probably most importantly, that can shoot. Because he needs a consistent second scorer. You know, he doesn't need a second a second scorer that's, you know, sometimes they have great games, sometimes they don't, like a Chris Middleton. You know, he needs like a Drew Holiday type of player that, you know, can defend. You know, he's more of a combo type of guard. You know, you can run him at the two and you can run him at point. He can facilitate the offense and he can defend and he can create his own shot. You know, they need that type of player, and that roster is just pretty much done as far as, you know, the players that they got. Brook Lopez, you know, he's a shell of himself now. Robin Lopez ain't the same player anymore. As far as Kyle Korver, you done got the last bit of juice out of that canister. I don't think you're gonna get anything else left out of him. He's pretty much done, you know, in terms of that. Eric Bledsoe is showing you, you know, how overrated he is, especially for the way they locked him up and the way they prioritized him over Malcolm Brogdon. And it's that move. I know it's coming back to haunt him, because, you know, that's a guy that's capable of getting you 20 and 10, you know, and he's a guy that was just young, and he's a guy that was real poised, you know, to be so young coming up in this league. But he played with a lot of poise, made a lot of smart decisions with the ball. You know, he can pass, he can defend, and he can score. You know, he can get his own shots. So that they were showing how much they miss Malcolm Brogdon in that series. You know, Chris Middleton, he did all that he can do, but he's pretty much a poor man's Klay Thompson. You know, at the end of the day, he's not the type of second star that's going to come in and bail out their main superstar when he has off nights, when he have off games, you know, when he's in foul trouble. He's not that type of guy that you can consistently depend on to get you 30 points in the playoffs. You know, when you need that next man to step up and get them over the hump, you know, while their superstar is struggling or out for an injury or whatever reason. So we already predicted that that was going to be the outcome as far as that Milwaukee Miami matchup. Shout out to Miami. They did what they were supposed to do, regardless of what Milwaukee did wrong. Give Miami their credit. You know, the media needs to give Miami their credit, because they got about 5 or 6, 7 guys that's capable scorers that can get you between 18 to 20 points easily, you know, and they're confident shooters and they're a confident bunch. And that's a team that has championship pedigree, you know. And, you know, now they got a finals MVP in Andre Iguodala. They got Jimmy Butler that's been around the block. You still got Haslam there. So they got a nice little balance of veterans and youth on that team. And look out, you know, that right now that's looking like that's going to be my pick to come out of the East, because I don't see Toronto or Boston beating that Miami team. They're just too deep, you know. They're too loaded. You know, they have a smart coach, a championship coach, you know, and they just have so much depth and experience. You know, I don't know if that'll be I don't know if what Boston has or what Toronto have is just going to be enough. You know, no. Now Toronto has played great this season without Kawhi Leonard, but let's not get it twisted. They need Kawhi Leonard to win that ultimate, to reach that ultimate goal. You know, the media could sit up there and act like, you know, they're just fine without Kawhi Leonard. No, they're not. You know, at the end of the day, if you want to reach that pinnacle, if you want to reach that ultimate goal, which is winning a championship, you need that superstar. You know, and Kyle, it's only so far and so long Kyle Lowry is going to take you into that playoffs, and you go into the playoffs, and you're going to see, you know, you're going to see a lot of that come back down to earth once they play Miami. Now, as far as this Houston and Lakers matchup is concerned, we already predicted before before the series even started that the Lakers was just an all around better team, you know. So
Fact.
I'm not surprised that the Lakers got a lead in this series. Houston is just one of those type of teams. You just gotta wait for them to self destruct. You ain't really gotta do much to beat them. You just gotta allow them to beat themselves, and they do it time and time again, every single season, every single playoffs. Even Kobe, God rest his soul, when he did that interview with Rachel Nichols, he said it. You know that the way they run their offense, the way they run that team, the way James Harden plays during the regular season, it doesn't translate into the playoffs. You know,
Facts.
and they just keep proving him right time after time after time again. They have, as you would think, for a team that has that type of talent, they wouldn't be so self-destructive. But that's what you're gonna get when you have a team that's coached by a self-destructive type of coach with Mike D'Antoni. I mean, what has he ever won in this league? Rudy Tom Donovich, he's not even on that level of a coach, but he steady gets jobs. You already know if he was to get fired from this Houston team, he's gonna get another job by tomorrow. And
Facts.
we already know this. Like D'Antoni is probably the most overrated coach, or one of the most overrated coaches, if not the most overrated coach in NBA history. I mean, what has this man done? It's never been to an NBA Finals. And this team is just, it's just not a good basketball team. They're not a smart team. James Harden, we already know what his problem is. He flops. He looks for those calls in the playoffs, doesn't get them. He's a lazy defender, doesn't have good footwork,
Mhm.
doesn't move his feet, he doesn't get back in transition. And even when he had Kevin McHale as his coach, Kevin McHale tried to push him. Kevin McHale tried to push him to be a better player, to be a better player defensively, to make better decisions with the ball,
Yep.
but he didn't want a coach that was going to push him to the next level. He wanted a yes man coach. He wanted
Exactly.
a coach that was going to let him do whatever he wanted, anytime he wanted, when he wanted, and look at where it's gotten him. Nowhere. And the way Harden and Westbrook is playing right now, it's just proving more and more that Kevin Durant made the right decision by leaving OKC, because
Exactly.
those two knuckleheads held him back.
Mm.
I'm sorry. Like those are two LA guys. Harden went to Artesia and Westbrook Lozinger, but I gotta keep it real. Like when it comes to the playoffs, they turn into knuckleheads.
Mm.
And all the things we could talk about, all of their MVPs, all the records they break, all the stats that they put up, you cheating the game. You're cheating
Yep.
the game because your whole mentality, your whole approach to the game is by taking shortcuts.
Fact.
You're trying to take shortcuts to win a championship, and that's not the way to go. And it's going to catch up to you every single time. And we seeing it once more again with this Houston Rockets team. Because all you got to do is just sit back and watch them fall apart on their own. I mean, look at what's going on with Daniel House. He was a key guy coming off the bench, and what he do? Made a knuckleheaded decision. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm hearing he was trying to invite some guests into the bubble. Like, how he figured he was going to get away with that in the middle of the playoffs? It's like, bro, you a key component coming off the bench for that team. Why would you put yourself in that predicament to where you would jeopardize your team's chances of winning that series because you wanna be a knucklehead? It's just
Mm.
too many knuckleheads on that team, you know, and the Lakers just gonna make easy work of them. I mean, it's really not much you have to game plan for. They don't they the Lakers are showing that they don't respect none of their shooters. They're sagging off on Westbrook. They're giving him all the space to shoot because they know he gonna take the bait. They're
Mm.
hunkering down. They're double teaming Harden. You know, they're not even rotating and closing out hard on any of those shooters because they're daring them to make a shot. You got to make a shot first before I'm going to waste my energy closing out on you as a shooter. Make the shot first. But if Austin Rivers ain't making those shots, if PJ Tucker ain't hitting those corner shots, you're not giving a defense any type of reason to want to close out on you defensively. And I don't have to watch any of these games to know what their problem is because they make the same knuckleheaded mistakes time after time after time again, and it's separating the men from the boys. You know, it's separating the alpha from the beta. And right now, the Lakers is just a better overall team. Now, once we get to the next series, which we all know is going to happen, which is we all know it's going to be Lakers Clippers. A lot of the things that the Lakers was doing in the prior series, they're not going to be able to get away with in the next series, and you're going to see that moving forward. As far as the Clippers is concerned, they're showing they've already looked like a well-oiled machine right now because now it's starting to look like their chemistry is coming together. Kawhi is focused. You know, he looks focused. He's playing like he's focused, like he's determined, like he's on a mission, you know, and you couldn't ask for nothing more from your leader, you know. I mean, when you come away with 30 points, 9 assists, 11 rebounds, 2 blocks, like 4 steals, I mean, what more can you ask for from your leader, from your superstar? And he's setting the tone not with his words, but through his actions on the court. Because anybody can say, oh, you know, I deserve this and I deserve that and I deserve more playing time and I deserve the ball. But Kawhi, he's consistent. Even when he struggles offensively, he's doing other things. He's rebounding the ball. He's playing defense. You know, he's not turning the ball over by making silly passes. So he may not always have the best scoring output or the kind of scoring output that you're accustomed to seeing from him, but he does all the little things, all the other little things that make up for it. I mean, even in the last game, he came away with 14 rebounds. You know, it's all the media want to talk about is just scoring, but you're leaving out all of the other things that he's doing to make up for it. And that's and that just goes to show you, you know, what a leader is. It's like, okay, you know what? I ain't got my shot right now. You're going, but I'm going to do other things. You know, I'm going to rebound. I'm going to defend. You know, I'm going to make good decisions with the ball. I'm not going to turn the ball over. So when you do all of those other intangibles, that makes up for whatever struggles that you have shooting the ball. You know, so we already see that the Clippers is coming into form. They're ready for the next series. They're gonna close it out against Denver. Denver just ain't ready yet. And then you got Michael Porter Jr. coming out, throwing his coach under the bus like he been in the league 15 plus years. Like, bruh, you know, you ain't even put in work like that for you to be coming out throwing your coach under the bus like that, you know. And if you have a problem with your coach, that's something you handle in-house, in the locker room. That's something you handle between him on the side. You don't come out in the media and blast him out in front of the media because now you just causing more discord among your teammates, among the coaching staff, and that's not something that you need, especially when you're down 3-1, you know. So this is going to be a learning lesson for him. The Joker, he's gonna have to improve his game down low, you know, because now he's starting to look like, you know, glorified Chris Bosh, you know, and I need to see it. Is good that you can stretch the floor and hit jump shots and shoot threes, but I need my big man down low. And he's got to dominate down low, and he doesn't do that enough consistently. You know, and Kawhi and Paul George, they done already showed Jamal Murray that he ain't no Luka Doncic. You know,
facts.
They took care of Dallas, but see, Dallas was more of a challenge. You know, but compared to Denver, Denver, it's like, okay, you know, we didn't already gotten tested the way we wanted to from Dallas. So they got that one win, but then that was it. That's all you're gonna get. That's all you're gonna get out of us because we about to finish you in 5. And that's what it looked like it's gonna happen right now. So, you know, we already know what it's gonna be in the next. It's gonna be Lakers, Clippers, and I'm thinking it's gonna be Miami, Toronto, because Boston, I don't know, they kind of look like they falling apart right now. So that's pretty much how I see it for all of the series. Like I said, I'm still not watching the games, but I am keeping a close ear to a lot of the commentary and a lot of the things that's going on. So that's pretty much my take on that.
That's what's up, man. All right, so let's get on to it, man, and let's talk about this because I think it's very key for us to talk about it. The Los Angeles Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. Let's just get right into the series, man. Bottom line is we see that the Los Angeles Clippers went up 3-1, and basically, like, you know, I've been saying all along, this was going to be batting practice for them. They were going to use this series to get their defensive, intensity, their defensive ingenuity, their defensive responsibility, all of that back together, because with defense, it takes getting your legs back. And that's going to require quantity on top of quality in order for that to get done. What we're seeing from the Clippers is they're starting to get that flare back that they had prior to the whole COVID situation. They're not fully back to that level that they were at where they were peaking at, but they're making strides to get there. Kawhi Leonard, this is why I've always said after Kevin Durant, this guy right here, man, that's that dude right after Kevin Durant. He has layers to his game, just like Kevin Durant. There's levels, man. I don't know how many times I got to quote that Meek Mill, dog, but I'm going to quote it each and every single time. There's levels to this stuff, y'all. There's gears. And that's what he did. He put the gears on Luka Doncic and showed Luka Doncic, you can't mess with me. Then now he's showcasing the Jamal Murray. This ain't no damn Donovan Mitchell. And see, I don't know what the heck is Pandemic P. I know, you know, these betas, man, out here in these basketball streets, they always create these Rudy Poor plum brain terminologies, man. But anyways, Paul George is a number 2 option. I don't expect Paul George to be doing the heavyweight lifting that a Kawhi Leonard is supposed to do. In basketball hierarchy, I put all of the burden. If you guys want to know my basketball mind on stuff, I put all the burden on option 1, man. Option 2, their job is to, in key situational moments, to buffer option 1. And if they don't do that, then that's when I hold them accountable. But that's what Paul George did in the last series. In the key situational moment, he had that one alpha-like game that encompassed all of those non-beta games that he didn't provide. So hence, that game 5 clincher that he had, hey, I was already satisfied with that, because the thing with basketball that people have to understand is, even though a player doesn't show up in a series, it's about what they do in situational moments, because basketball is situational in a lot of aspects. Basketball is about momentum in a lot of aspects, and basketball is about matchups. And in those situational moments, in those matchups, in those moments where you expect a player to deliver the goods when they're supposed to, that's what Paul George did in that situational moment in game 5 clincher. Paul George showed up in a game that was important, because everyone knows in basketball that 75% of the teams that win game 5, they win the damn series. So he showed up in the game that was actually the most pivotal to close that damn series out. But there's levels to this stuff. There's gears. I was never afraid of no damn Luka Doncic, because the problem is, and like Lewis said, you know what I'm saying, that I be saying, offense gets the glory, but defense wins championships. You got to be defensively responsible. And what I'm seeing from Luka Doncic that's very dangerous, even though it's his first season, is I'm seeing that this is going to ultimately be a player that's going to be caught up in his habits and his ways of being offensively dominant, but he's going to be allergic on the defensive side. When I look at Luka Doncic, I see a swooped up James Harden. That's the way that I sum him up. That's why I knew without question the Los Angeles Clippers were going to dispatch them, because it was all about matchups. It was all about who's playing against who. Now, running into the second round, oh, let me say this last thing in the first round. The Los Angeles Clippers didn't have their legs under them defensively yet. See, if the Los Angeles Clippers, truth be told, was in this mode, in this shape, the way that they are with the Nuggets, Doncic would have got locked the fuck down even more. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. It's just the fact that the Clippers didn't have their legs under them yet. But if they did, Luka Doncic would have been in some damn trouble. But now, fast forward into this second round, Jamal Murray is now getting what we call a rude awakening. Donovan Mitchell is a guy who's still stuck in the first season. He hasn't graduated from that first season of basically making Paul George and Russell Westbrook, two guys that are what we call high-octane betas, aka alpha wannabes, get out of the situation. He got them out of, he beat them in the first round. His head blew the hell up. And instead of him saying, you know what, let me build upon that foundation. Let me keep embarrassing these guys in the league. Let me make a namesake for myself, kind of like what a Victor Oladipo did. Because Victor Oladipo, and the reason why I compare these two guys is Victor Oladipo, after he had that first season where he was doing his thing, he kind of went through a whirlwind. And then he finally figured himself out. The problem with him is he's been injury prone. The thing with Donovan Mitchell is he's still trying to figure himself out. And I feel like he needs to get under a tutelage of a Dwayne Wade or somebody like that to really take his game to the next level. D-Wade ain't playing basketball. Call up that's the problem with these young generational players. They don't know how to pick up a damn phone and call somebody. It's like that Ben Simmons tendency when KB24 told him, your jump shot is broke. And instead of him saying, you know what, KB24, my jump shot is damn near broke, he turned around and felt some type of way about it and got hot and bothered like grits. That's what we're seeing with these new generational basketball players. Jamal Murray is going to potentially become what I would say a good basketball player. He's showcasing exploits that show him as a player that can do some things on the basketball court. But there's levels to this stuff, man. You're talking about Kawhi Leonard. You're talking about a guy that's a two-time finals MVP that's won 2 NBA championships. This guy has won at the highest levels. And remember, playoff basketball is where legends are made. This is the pantheon of greatness for a reason, man. Kawhi Leonard is an upper echelon material NBA pantheon greatness player. Could you imagine if Kawhi wins the title this year? We're going to be saying LeBron, who? That's what we're going to be saying. And he did this. He would be doing this off of the strength of 4 attempts, not taking 3 for 9 in abysmal 33.3% NBA Finals average to get 3 NBA titles. This would be a 75 percentile average. And then if Kawhi were to turn around and win the NBA title this year, I would even have to put him over my dude, Kevin Durant, because, you know, it's all about the standard of the hardware, dog. It would have been 3 Finals MVP, 3 NBA championships to Kevin Durant's 2 and 2. Now, I know Kevin Durant going to come in next year and whoop that ass. I already know that. See, I have the assurance that when the Brooklyn Nets show up, that's why you saw Lewis Sports Network had that damn Brooklyn Nets banner, because he know what time it is. Matter of fact, I think me and Lewis Sports Network going to be rooting for the same fucking team. I could already see that. Come next year, everybody better get put on fucking notice, because Kevin Durant's coming to whoop everybody's ass. But I can't talk about next year. I'm going to talk about this year. Kawhi Leonard has an opportunity just for this season to be ahead of the fray. And we're talking about ahead of everyone else. But here's the thing. I'm still going to hold serve because I already dropped a prediction. Now, I know this is going to get some people feeling some type of way, but I don't know. I just have the feeling on it. This is a least path of resistance NBA titles, a fraudulent, fluky, on-the-spot NBA title. And see, just as much as the Clippers are ascending and just as much as the Clippers are a foregone conclusion, that's why we all fast forward to the Western Conference Finals. Because I think in everybody's brain, we've all realized it's going to be the Lakers and it's going to be the Clippers. I think we've all rattled our brains around that. We get it. That's what the NBA Western Conference Finals is going to look like, because it's the rating beauty. It's the sexy series to have. It's 2 Los Angeles teams, and it basically puts 2 Los Angeles fan base against one another. You know, you got the Clippers and you got the Lakers. You got Lakers fans calling Clippers flippers, and you got Clippers fans telling the Lakers, y'all the old team, get the hell out of the way. We got Kawhi Leonard, and it's LA our way. But here's the thing. I picked the Clippers originally because prior to the COVID situation, I liked the way they were peaking. And that was my prediction at that time, because I already saw what they were bringing to the table. Their defensive sequences was on point. Everything was together. Everything was doing what it was supposed to. But then I had to fall to the Lakers because this whole break with this COVID-19 situation, 3 to 4 month break, LeBron is giddy. I've never seen LeBron James so giddy about the NBA playoffs. LeBron and the playoffs are allergic to one another. LeBron can't stand the playoffs. He actually hates the playoffs. That's why you see he got to paint that damn hairline on his damn head, because the stress of the NBA playoffs. This is the guy that told you he got to go to, what is it, 0 dark 30 or playoff activation mode. Is a reason why he has to psych his brain out like that, because he can't stand the playoffs. But for him to be giddy about the playoffs, that's a bad sign. That's a bad sign. That means NBA to Nike, they done put together and they done say, you know what? We need to recruit this $90 million investment, and we can't let this guy not get us our investment back or the investment back of this $90 million with him just having 3 NBA titles. We need him to get 4 so we can justify this fool that we've invested 17 years in. So that's why I said, you know what? I have to look at it like that, because there's also this dark element that's associated with basketball. And we've been around the sport long enough, and we know what time it is when it comes to that. And we saw those last 2 games. If you notice, the Clippers won the first 2 games against the Lakers, but those last 2 games, they gave it to the Lakers. And what happened in those last 2 games? That Tim Donaghy rule applied. Referee calls. I remember me, Ben Castro, and Richy Rich was covering that damn game. What the fuck happened in that game? Referee calls, man. That's what they do. The referees turn around and the referees make these damn calls, and the referees make sure that the Los Angeles Lakers have the upper advantage over the Clippers. And I said all of that to say this. The Denver Nuggets and the Los Angeles Lakers, the Denver Nuggets and the Los Angeles Clippers, when you look at this series, the Denver Nuggets have not excelled themselves from last year. And you know who is holding up the Denver Nuggets? Is Nikola Jokic. He hasn't taken his game to the next level. This was supposed to be a come-out party year for him. We were supposed to see this guy score. Now, maybe I'm being a little too greedy, but a big man like that should have been giving me 25 and 15. I don't know if anybody else agree with me or not, but a motherfucker like that on the basketball court, I should have been seeing 25 points and 15 rebounds. And if you don't give me 25, 15, at least give me 30 and 10. That guy should have had a come-out party this year in basketball, and I just feel that he has failed. And I feel that he has dropped the ball huge, and he's dropped the ball big time. And I think what's going to happen is if he doesn't excel his game, then he's going to have all of these guys, Jamal Murray's, you know what I'm saying? All of these guys, the Brogdons of the world, all of these guys are going to keep excelling, while he's just going to be sitting back, and he's just going to be comfortable in what he did in seasons past. If Nikola Jokic is not careful, you know what I feel? And I know y'all going to be like, damn, y'all coming for this dude's neck. I feel a Kevin Love situation happening with Nikola Jokic. I feel that he can become a Kevin Love if he's not ascending his game to the next level. Because if you guys remember with Kevin Love, this guy was a double-doubles artist. Then he fell his ass up on the LeBron, and he's been on disappearing status ever since. This is potentially what could happen to a Nikola Jokic if this dude don't step his game up to the next level. He should be dominating, man. In this series that the Los Angeles Clippers don't have a big man down low, this guy right here should be having 40-point games. He should be having 20 rebounds. I mean, he should be ramelanging. It should be that Shaquille O'Neal. It should be barbecue fucking chicken. So that's when I know this guy, something is up with this guy, and his game is not taking the next level. So this is why I say the Los Angeles Clippers using this as batting practice to get all of their defensive habits together. And then we're going to get that 7-game series going into the Western Conference Finals with the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Los Angeles Clippers. But I'm still going to hold serve. I'm still going to say what I got to say. I got the Lakers beating the Clippers in 7 games in the Western Conference Finals. Now, Jalik the leader, what's your take on what I have to say, man?
Yeah, shout out there. Before I say this, I wanted to point out something that you said that was so on point. You mentioned how the way LeBron James played defense, he gets a lot of back end blocks, and he got a lot of black end blocks. So I was watching it. I thought about you. I was like, bro, Heat and Fire was on point because he came from behind so many shots. I was like, what the fuck? And that's the game that he dunked on Westbrook. But the Clippers, they need to do a profile. This guy is the most successful, and it's weird that for this guy not to hardly talk, he's a super duper introvert, because a lot of people think that you need to be vocal and vocal and vocal. So shout out for Kawhi to be a super introvert. I can be introverted sometimes, but I'm a Gemini, so I can talk a lot. But this guy is amazing, bro. And like you said, if he win the chip this year, he'd be 3-4. For him to do it, first of all, he'd do it on 2 different teams.
3
first year, but he done it in his second year in there. But for him to win in his first year in Toronto and win the first year, that means that he's instantly adapting to whatever surroundings. So that goes to show you that's part of his IQ. He understands things. That's what Russell Westbrook and Harden doesn't get. They don't know how to adapt. So that's part of being a leader. Also, he's definitely putting himself in. He's already on some all-time great status now, but he's only getting higher and higher and higher. I think he only about 28 or 29 is his 9th season. So the thing about Denver, though, I got to give them props because they still inexperienced. Because a lot of the game is they down 3-1, it could easily be 2-2. So I respect the Nuggets. And like you said about homeboy should have kept that behind the scenes, Porter. But Porter he's growing into himself. Remember, he was supposed to be the #1 pick in 2018. He got a grudge in a sense. He playing with a grudge because the Clippers passed on him. So that's just an inexperienced thing on him. I picked them to lose in 5 games, but the fact that they put up great effort is there. So the Clippers, man, like Louis said, I want Houston to win because I want Westbrook to get a chip. I like Harden. They get on your nerves, but I still want them to get a chip. But I gotta be realistic. Like I just think in 7 games, I think they can beat the Lakers, bro. I just think somehow, some way, I trust them more than I trust Kawhi more than I trust Anthony Davis. I got a feeling they're gonna use Mars. They're gonna do something. Davis, he's so fragile, and there's just something about him, bro. You can just get in his head. It's just something about Anthony Davis. That's why I said I would never sign him to a maximum deal for 5 years. I give him 2 years, but he has Rich Paul, and Rich Paul is one of those guys. That's what Rich Paul was able to get Eric Bledsoe that contract because that's the stupidest contract. When I see him sign a contract, I was like, why are they signing Eric Bledsoe, bro? Like, why is he signing him? Like, for all that money, I was like, they made a mistake on there. But the Nuggets is a great team. And to be honest with you, if they was in the East Coast, I actually think they better than Miami, to be really honest with you. The West Coast is just a little different. If they was in the East Coast, I believe that they can actually go to the championship. So they're a young team. Hopefully they keep improving because they got Bol. He don't make a lot of money, and he just got to keep working on his game. You got Porter, you got Gary Harris, you got the Joker and other guys, and then they also going to save a lot of money because I don't know if it's a player option. Paul Millsap is out of there. That's $30 million. So they can bring in some smaller pieces and different things they need to constantly improve on a team. I like teams like that, because they have less superstars than they just do. But I'm tired of these like superstars that don't really know how to put it all together and they just stat tracking and just playing. That's just getting dumb. And then you gotta blame the league because they emphasize offense so much. That's why you can't even help it that the guys are just coming up there just trying to stat track and just get all these different triple doubles. It's kind of almost like fake in a way. It's like almost artificial because I like to see guys play defense. I can't stand when guys keep shooting 3-pointers. It does something to me. That's why a lot of times I don't even watch the whole game, bro. I just watch the 4th quarter. It get on my nerves, yo. But Nuggets is improving, and the Clippers, from the way it looks like it, I picked the Celtics. I might be wrong, but I picked the Clippers against the Celtics in the finals, bro. And Kawhi is he need to, for the introverts in the world, or even for the extroverts, he need to write a book because it's unbelievable. I never seen nothing like it for a person that don't even talk, bro. It's just different.
All right, Richy Rich, man, what's your take on the Los Angeles Clippers and the Denver Nuggets, bro?
Yeah, you guys brought up some great points, man. But it's like what where we dissected this series, how it was going to play out, man, and it's playing out perfectly how we dissected it. You know, where we were going to see the Clippers start to get ground on their identity of playing defense at a high level. Kawhi Leonard, PG, Pat Beverly. You know, you were going to see those guys cause havoc on the perimeter, and that's what we're seeing. You know, Jamal Murray, man, those high numbers, those high scoring binges that he was having in that Utah Jazz series, they're not. You don't. He hasn't had a game where I don't even think he's dropped 30 points in a game in this series yet. You know, everywhere he goes, man. He's seeing high intensity level of defense in his face. You know, Pat Bev is putting 94 feet defense on him. He's fighting through screens to get around to stay on Jamal Murray. And when there's a switch that comes, he's either seeing Kawhi Leonard or PG. So, like, this dude is like, man, yeah, I mean, I was getting all these good looks in the Utah Jazz series, but this series, man, no way. These guys are all over me, man. It's like night and day. When you look at the first round and this round, man, the Clippers aren't playing around. The Clippers are trying to make this get back. You can see these guys are getting their wind behind them. Their feet are starting to come back to where these guys can play defense at a high level, and it's gonna pay dividends in the next round. You know, when they play the Lakers, man, when it's for all the marbles. You know, just like he knows what's saying, man. Both LA teams, the sexy series, the sexy matchup. You know, Kawhi Leonard versus LeBron. These guys, remember, these guys are tied. You know, because LeBron beat Kawhi Leonard in the final setting. Kawhi beat him in the final setting. So now it's about who's gonna be able to break the tiebreaker. You know, because it was like that for Kevin Durant too. When Kevin Durant finally got that finals win on LeBron in 2015, no 2016, my bad. Look, he had KD had to get that second one on LeBron, and now KD is ahead of LeBron James.
2016,
but Kawhi Leonard, yeah,
2018.
Yeah, 2018. Now Kawhi Leonard, man, it's his turn to do that, and this is the reason why I think he made this move to come down here, man. It's to usurp, perception-wise, it's to usurp LeBron James, because people know that KD's is on another level than LeBron. He's better than LeBron now. You know, this is pre-injury Durant. This is not. We got to see what post-injury Durant looks like. But pre-injury Durant, KD's the best basketball player in the league. Now it's Kawhi's turn to prove that, you know, okay, now he can be the next guy to surpass LeBron James by beating him in another series, by passing him, by showing that he could have more wins than LeBron has over him. They're at a tiebreaker. Kawhi's looking at this, man. He's licking his chops. That dude is an introvert. He's quiet, but in his mind, man, I know he's thinking about this round. I know he's he's salivating, because this is his opportunity to prove, man, because there's a lot of people out here, man. You should see it. They still disrespect Kawhi, man. They still, because you know, you don't really say much, so they don't. People like guys that you know are like to talk a lot, charismatic. You know that you know they bring some type of drama. Kawhi brings none of that, man. He's a no nonsense guy. He's quiet, man. He's a mute. He keeps to himself. I wouldn't say he's a mute, you know, because his teammates know him. His head coaches know him. People who are in his circle know who he is, and they say that Kawhi, you know, he's a talkative guy. He's just from the outside looking in. We don't know Kawhi Leonard, so we don't know who the true Kawhi Leonard is. But from his approach to basketball, he's a no nonsense player. He just he approaches things to the game like, okay, he's just here for the game. He's not here for everything else, and that's what I like about him. So this guy, man, he has a great opportunity, you know, and it would be a disservice for the NBA, man, to rig this series for the Lakers, man. If they're gonna rig things,
Let this thing do all the rigging for 6 games, and then set the 7th game. Let it have a no holds bar, man. Let whoever leave that final game out the referee's hands. Let the best team go out there and win. If you gonna rig this thing, rig all 6 games. I don't care. Make it go 7, and then now we gonna see the Clippers and the Lakers for the last game. Who wants it the most? It's for all the marbles, man. That's the best thing Adam Silver would do. Because listen, LeBron James, what's the point of trying to rig this thing for him, man? And I understand what Eno's saying about the return on the investment, but the guy's lost double the amount of times he's won. He's had his opportunities. 9 finals already, man. And you lost 6 finals and you won 3? Listen, man, I ain't invested in that bum no more, man. It is what it is. I'm looking towards the future now. I'm seeing what these younger cats got. And these cats, some of these cats got it, man. You know what I'm saying? Kawhi Leonard. He may not be a brash, talkative guy, but I like how his approach to the game, man. The guy's a winner. You know what I'm saying? And he shows that he's up there with those guys, man. He's the best 2-way player in the league, man. And he just put his imprint is all over the game, man. So listen, man, I'm looking at Kawhi. I'm looking at KD when he comes back. And I'm trying to build up these younger guys, Luka Doncic, and some of these other guys, but they gotta continue to improve, work on their game. But LeBron James, man, he's been in this league 17 years, man. Listen, at some point, the people that run the league gotta figure out that they gotta move on from this guy. Mm-hmm. I understand when it was MJ, man. When he retired, because MJ, man, that man was winning at a high level, man, and he was doing his thing. When somebody like that retires from the game, you worry because, listen, man, that's your biggest star, and this guy's shown because he's won so many times, he's never lost. So when you lose a figure like that in the league, yeah, but LeBron James, hell no, it's time to move on from this guy. But I see the point that he knows is bringing up because the Lakers have been in the pits for years. Ever since 2010, Kobe Bryant won that last title for them, and the Lakers won that last title. Man, they've been a terrible ran organization. They've been in the pits, and they're 16. They won 16. Boston's won 17 titles. So they might help them get 17. And all this stuff with Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, dying. They might want to try to win this title in memory of Kobe. So a lot of stuff can happen here, but I'm hoping, man, this series is a well thought out series, and if they're gonna rig it, like I said again, rig it for all 6 games. But in the last game, man, just let the best team go out there and win. And we get to see who gets the bragging rights between Kawhi and LeBron, because that's what it's about, man. Mm-hmm. These guys, immovable object versus like the Dark Knight. How the Joker said, immovable object versus what was the other thing? I'm trying to remember what he said.
Unstoppable force.
Unstoppable force. That's what these two guys are. There's about to be a collision. I want to see who comes out of that, man.
That's what I'm talking about. Richy Rich dropped that napalm, though. That ether, that shit that make your soul burn slow. Now I know Lewis Sports Network, you about to ramp it up, so it's time to click, 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 click. But before we go to Lewis, I need Ben. Ben, what's up, Ben? Click, click, click. Let's go, wrap that thing up, dog.
Man. Denver Nuggets, though. I mean, I don't. There's nothing bad I want to say, but they do have flaws in their game. They're a young team, but inexperienced. Nikola Jokic, of course, he's got to put up numbers, but when it comes to crucial moments, like in the playoffs, I don't think he cannot be the closer. So, but they have a promising future. They have Jamal Murray, they have Jokic himself, they got other players like Grant, Will Barton, and this one guy, Michael Porter Jr. Man, and I heard he's been I heard he's been, about last night where he said we need to get the teammates involved, and I agree. Of course, the media will be talking down on them. You know how the mainstream media is; they're a bunch of scumbags. But anyways, but that's all I gotta say about the Nuggets. But for the Clippers, they're ready. They're ready. Of course, they have a lot of stuff to work on, obviously, but if they continue to get better every single time, once they face the Lakers in the conference finals, it's game time, man. And I just freaking hope that the Clippers come out of the West, man. I'm sick and tired of the LBJ writers media, man. The LBJ brigade, the LBJ apologists, LBJ stance, man. Shoving down our throats about, LeBron. I'm tired of it, man. I'm sick of it. I'm predicting the Clippers out of the West and the Miami Heat out of the East. I would like to see Clippers and Heat in the NBA Finals. That's my prediction. But we'll see what happens. Unless I have something else to say, I'll jump right into Lewis.
All right, Lewis, man, what's up, brother? What you got to say, bro?
In the words of the Nature Boy Ric Flair, woo! Oh man. Whatchamacallit? I know what you was trying to say, Richy Rich, it was the whole irresistible force. Okay, it's the irresistible force versus the immovable object. That's the term you was trying to look for. The irresistible force versus the immovable object. So that's gonna be the key. All right, man. Wow, what can I say about the Denver McNuggets? Let's see. I just knew that. Listen, they're a good young team. They got, they're very deep. They're just not ready for this. I know in the beginning of the season, I had picked them as one of my dark horses in the West because I thought that after what they experienced last year, I thought they was going to bring that experience into this season. But what basically happened with the Nuggets is 1 minute they're playing good defense in the season, but they're struggling on offense. Then at some point they get better offensively, but then they struggle defensively. Then you got Gary Harris was inconsistent. Then he gets injured. Then Jokic comes into camp out of shape and he had to work his way into losing weight. Didn't lose all that weight until COVID happened. And then he ended up getting COVID. Jamal Murray, like moments he looks great. And then there's other moments where he just looks, like he's just non-existent. The problem with this Nuggets team is that they don't have a true playmaker where Murray could move to the 2. And the thing is, I knew that against Utah does not have defenders they can throw at him. And Donovan Mitchell was pretty much kind of worried about more so going one-on-one than really trying to defend Jamal Murray. And if Donovan Mitchell tried to do that, he was going to wear out offensively. So it was kind of the same thing with Jamal Murray. On the other hand, I said against the Clippers, when the Clippers are on, you got to deal with Patrick Beverley, you got to deal with Kawhi Leonard, you got to deal with Paul George. Those are 3 first-team All-NBA defenders. And then in some instances, they could even put Marcus Morris on him. And I'm not saying he's like the greatest defender, but again, he's another wing that you could put on Jamal Murray, and it's giving Jamal Murray fits. And I said against the Clippers, what you faced with Utah, you are not going to see with the Clippers, and it's affecting his percentages, and you could just tell. And the thing with Jokic is he needs to focus more on scoring and rebounding. I just don't see him as a closer because if you look at today's game, your closers are really either combo guards or they're wing players. They're not your big men. Your big men are really more so now more than ever. They're not the center of the offense more so unless if you're on a team like Philly with Embiid. But it's like even with that, Ben Simmons has the ball in his hands a lot. So your best players are really your wings and combo guards that can score the ball. Like that's the way the league is right now. And when you look at the Clippers from top to bottom, like I said, they have the team there. It was good that they got tested against the Dallas Mavericks because that to me needed to show that it's not going to be easy for them. And this is an opportunity to realize that you can't mess around now. This is now the playoffs. Like that Dallas Mavericks team kind of gave them a reminder. This is the postseason. So now it's time to really start to now try to fine tune your game. And like Yah was saying with Richy Rich and what he knows, the Denver Nuggets, as good of a team as they are, and they can give the Clippers problems. I just think that they have a little bit too many glaring holes for me to say that they're going to beat them in a series. And then to count the fact that this is going to fine tune the Clippers defensively. And if you saw last night, give the Nuggets credit. They came back into the game and everything, but the Clippers just showed you that when they are in sync, when their chemistry is good, they are a very good elite defense when they're peaking at the right time. And that's what was happening before COVID hit. And they struggled a little bit in the bubble because they were trying to find themselves. But now they're starting to, now it's starting to show. So they're not really, messing around now. And I think they're going to close out, the Nuggets. So now the best thing about it is now that they get to fine tune their defense, the key for them against the Lakers, because, obviously rating purposes, NBA and Nike, they're looking to go all over this. Again, irresistible force, LeBron, immovable object, Kawhi Leonard, both of them are going to go head to head. It's going to be about not just, the media's going to make a big deal about it. It's not just the battle of LA, but it's like who truly is the best in the NBA. I personally think, like, when you look at, it's hard to say because I'm not trying to disrespect LeBron. LeBron's playing at a high level, but I just don't feel he's the best player in the NBA anymore. And I said you can make a case for Kevin Durant. You can make a case for Kawhi Leonard. Like, I can't say that about Giannis because he puts up great individual numbers like Anthony Davis, but it's like they got to prove it in the playoffs for me until Giannis can say he's the best. He just got knocked off in the second round. So, and that's after going to the conference finals last year. So that hurts you a little bit right there. So I can't put you up there. Even with your awards, I cannot put you up there. So I feel like this is really more so KD Kawhi time. I do agree with Jalik, though, because I don't consider Kevin Durant more of an introvert. I feel like he's a tweener. Like, he's a mix of an introvert and an extrovert, because when he needs to respond, KD claps back and he opens his mouth and he let it be known real loud. So I would say Kawhi is more of an introvert than Kevin Durant. So I do agree with Jalik on that Kawhi, I call him the leader in the introverts because what Kawhi Leonard does is, and this is why I like him, the media's tried so badly, especially the ones that are fanboys of LeBron James. They tried everything they can to disrespect him. And Kawhi, he watches it, but is he going to respond to it? No, because all he cares about is just playing basketball. He's worrying about fine tuning his game. And you could really tell that he's really put emphasis on getting better. And I don't think his one-on-one offense is up there with KD just yet, but it's very, very, very close. I'll say that he's come a long way from his early days in San Antonio to where he is now with the Clippers. And Jalik made a good point when where Jalik said that what Kevin Durant said about Kawhi, that Kawhi was a beneficiary of the system and that he's only a system player. Well, Kawhi's showing you that he's more than that right now. So, and I would love to see those two go at it, because it would be a chance for Kawhi to make Kevin Durant eat his words to say, well, you think I'm more than a system player, watch this. So, and I think that even though we're going ahead down the line, I feel like that's going to be the future NBA Finals in 2021 when we got Kawhi Leonard against Kevin Durant. I feel like that's pretty much going to happen. I really think that that's going to be the next thing. I'm telling y'all right. I'm saying it right now. It's going to take a lot to get there, but I feel like that's probably going to happen. So, yeah, man, when you look at the Clippers, man, I just think that right now they're the better overall team than Denver, because Denver, they're fortunate. The thing is also, even though they were missing Will Barton and Jamal Murray for a bit, they had no business going down 3-1 to Utah. So when I saw that, I said, well, wait till we see when they play a better team. And the Clippers pretty much show that right now. They're just heads and butts better. Now, against the Lakers, the key in that series is going to be Lou Will is starting to round in the shape, in the form. You're starting to see that a little bit right now against the Nuggets. He needs to be there. Montrezl Harrell is starting to look, the last couple of games, I'm starting to see that energy Montrezl Harrell usually does in the regular season. So they're going to be big. But more importantly, Paul George. I just feel like the key for the Clippers, I know what Kawhi's going to do. And his intangibles make up for when he doesn't shoot the ball well or he's not scoring. He can impact the game in other ways. Even though he looks like he kind of lost a step a little bit, but he's starting to kind of round in the form a little bit. I think he just needed some time. But Paul George, if he has been consistently inconsistent, and if they're going to beat the Lakers, Paul George has got to put himself a string of good games if they're going to beat the Lakers. Because if he doesn't, I'm sorry, I'm keeping it 100. I don't see them being the Lakers. And then if you look at it from the Lakers standpoint, who's going to be that consistent third guy? Now, what's scary about LA is LeBron could go off, Anthony Davis can go off. AD is going to be the key to that series too. But then also, can they find that third guy? Because if LeBron and AD they give you consistent play, but then it's like one night it could be Kuzma, one night it could be Danny Green. Avery Bradley's obviously not there. J.R. Smith. I mean, I'm looking at how's he going to play. Then you got Dion Waiters. Like, are you really going to depend on those guys? Like, how many minutes is Frank Vogel really going to play those guys? So I'm interested to see how that's going to pan out. So even if it does come to the star play, Anthony Davis is the X factor for the Lakers, and Paul George is the X factor for the Clippers. How are the number twos going to play in that series? And then if you look at the Clippers are deeper when it comes to the scoring. So the key is if they just pretty much get that, both teams are good defensively. I got to see how LA defends the three because LA is not good at defending the three. The Clippers have to do a better job in their interior because their interior defense is not good. They're a better perimeter than interior defensive team. So I'm going to see what kind of factors Joakim Noah are going to play in this series now that they got him. And the way I see the finals, I picked Clippers and Heat. But I got to say this also, though, and I'm surprised people didn't bring this up. I don't know if they did or not. Miami Heat is in the Eastern Conference Finals. Mm-hmm. If they get to the NBA Finals, we need to debunk that stuff that LeBron's never played for a great coach because look what Eric Spoelstra's doing without a superstar. Mm-hmm. You got to we have to keep it 100. Nobody can ever say that Eric Spoelstra is not a good coach if he's coaching that team to the NBA Finals. Look at that. They don't have a legitimate superstar. They don't have a go-to guy. Jimmy Butler is the leader of that team. His offense comes and goes at times. So he tends to be inconsistent. But the one thing you're always going to get is you're going to get somebody who consistently plays hard defensively. And when you need him in the clutch, he can get you buckets. But without a superstar, they get to the finals, whoever they face. I honestly, I could see it Lakers and Heat, or I could see Clippers and Heat, but I'm gonna go to Clippers and Heat, and I'm gonna put it this way: whether LeBron gets his fourth title and goes 4 for 10 and gets that 40% NBA Finals average, or LeBron goes 3-7 if he happens to get to the finals and loses that series, or if LeBron doesn't even get to the finals, period. The bottom line is when you look at the future of the league, like Richy Rich was talking about, Adam Silver needs to develop a backbone and realize that you need to market the players that you got right now, because when you look at the 2020s, like you can make yourself a whole lot of money if you understand like the product that you got on the floor. Because part of the reason that the NBA is down in ratings is because they're making NBA players into politicians. And let's be real honest, man. None of these NBA players are politicians. So they don't know they don't know what they're talking about. And because they're connecting sports with politics, that's the reason ratings are down, because people don't care about that. Yep. They don't care about that.
Yeah.
So when you're telling me about boycotting a game when it really wasn't going to do anything, because it's like I said before, like max players, they're going to say what they want because they got paid. Because if you look at the way that guys get paid, the max players get paid first. So after they get paid, it's like they could care less about everybody else. They got their money. So when people talk about, oh man, you know, what do you think about, the whole boycott and like, do you think you should cancel the season? Of course they're gonna say yes because they got paid. Would they be saying that if they didn't get their dollars? No. So the common person go and check the check. They're gonna say, wait a minute, we got to get paid, so we got to keep this going. So that's why I looked at that whole thing as a whole farce. Like that wasn't even anywhere important. And also though, Rajon Rondo is important for LA because his playmaking gives LeBron the opportunity to play more off ball. So that gives him more energy to play defensively. When LeBron has the ball, and the thing is, I've noticed this about LeBron too. Like LeBron is scoring, but I notice he kind of gets gassed out like a little bit earlier than usual. He's kind of gassed out a little bit by like late to end third quarter, and even at the start of the fourth, where he's gonna need a breather. And I'm saying like he's gonna need all the energy he can, because this is gonna be a very difficult series, and I think that series is probably gonna go 7 between the Lakers and the Clippers. Like Richy Rich said, if they want to rig the 6 games to give it a 3-3, so be it. But let that 7th game, let the players decide on the court who's going to be the best team to come out and represent the Western Conference. And getting back to Denver, man, I got to get on Michael Porter Jr. real quick, because as great of a project as he is, and I think he's going to be a special player in this league, you got to understand something. You may be right in what you said, but you don't throw your coach and your team under the bus, especially in the playoffs. I don't care if you're in Denver, if you're in Los Angeles. I don't care if you're in the damn bubble. Cardinal sin rule number 1, you don't throw your team under the bus, even if it's true. You go to coach privately and say, hey, coach, like, because if y'all notice in game 4, the reason the Nuggets were in that game was because of Jeremy Grant and Michael Porter Jr., because the Clippers look like as poorly as they shot, they looked like they were going to blow that thing out because they had no answers for them on defense, and the Nuggets went ice cold from the field. So if Michael Porter Jr. doesn't play well and Jeremy Grant, they're not in that game. So we got to give credit to where credit's due to those guys. But MPJ, keep your mouth shut, bro. And if you're gonna talk, you let the coach know behind closed doors. Don't just go opening your mouth. You're just, first of all, well, you're in your second year, and technically you're a rookie because you didn't play all of last year. You don't got the merit, you don't got the years to just talk like that. And also another issue I got with the Nuggets is they do too much dribble handoff with Jokic and Murray. And then you're kind of making yourself predictable, and the Clippers see that. You got to get that ball involved because the Nuggets got size, so they could give the Clippers problems. But and that's why Mike Malone, if he's going to get back in this series, he's going to have to make an adjustment. He's going to have to make an adjustment. They got to get the other guys involved, and especially like he waited too long to put Michael Porter Jr. back in the game because he sat a while once the Clippers really started to pull away, and the Nuggets are just not good defensively, man. So, like I said, man, at the end of the day, this was the series that honestly that the Clippers needed. So that, and if it was the Utah Jazz, it would have been worse for the Jazz because they would have finished that series. I think that was a 4-game sweep, but this was the series that the Clippers needed because now they pretty much get to fix some kinks. And Doc, if y'all notice, Doc, he's been scouting a lot too. So he's been looking at some of these other teams, even the East teams, but he's trying to see like how. And I also got to say this real quick to close out. If there's a weakness of the Clippers, they're going to have to keep their composure because this is an emotional team. So the Marcus Morrises, the Montrezl Harrells, the Pat Bevs, Doc is going to have to find a way to keep those guys in check in terms of control of their emotions because the Clippers could easily lose composure, get complacent, and not play as hard, especially with Paul George too, because the Clippers were able to win with Paul George getting in foul trouble, even though he was able to get some baskets down the stretch. But so if I'm Doc Rivers, I'm preaching to these guys. If you guys are going to win, because again, the referees are going to use that whistle for certain things, man, when you know that a team is down and they're trying to keep them in the game. The best teams are able to play through the whistle to the point that the refs can't do anything about it and they just let you play. So the Clippers need to understand that, and Doc he's got to emphasize that to the Clippers against the Lakers coming up in this next round if they're going to beat them. So it's not just Paul George and and Lou Will and Montrezl, and they got to be consistent. But again, Doc has got to get to these guys. You cannot lose your composure, get some cheap technicals because suspensions are going to play a factor. So they have to be careful with that because if not, the Lakers can take advantage of that. So like I said, both teams have glaring holes. So we're going to have to see how this thing plays out, man. But yeah, that's pretty much my take on it, man.
That's what's up. Ben, I know you had something to say on the back end. What's up, bro?
Well, before I get into what Lewis was, before I get into that, I want to go to what Lewis was saying about the refs. Of course, we witnessed that when you, myself and Richy Rich were watching that Clipper game against the Lakers. That was oh my gosh, couldn't forget that. But anyways, I remember what Michael Jordan was saying in the press conference. I think I saved it on Twitter, where he said something about the refs. I think I don't know the exact words he said, but he basically said this in summary: that we should not focus on the refs and just let the game go, keep playing. Because if we give into what the refs were doing, that means they're playing. That means we're giving into our emotions. We're playing into their hands. So I pretty much a cross-reference to what Lewis was saying about the refs, having the Clippers keep their composure and not to. And it's kind of like a psychological game, not to get into not to feed into the whistles, but rather just to play through the whistles and and that will go against the refs and the Lakers. So, and anyways, what I was about to say is, Lewis, when you said that Lakers versus Clippers, when you said Clippers versus Lakers, the irresistible force versus the immovable object, right?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what he said.
Okay, yeah. No, not to me. To me, it's Clippers versus Lakers in the conference finals, aka the unstoppable force versus the unidentified flying object. That's all I got to say about that.
All right, all right. That's what I'm talking about, man. Listen, man, you guys, y'all killed it today, man. Lewis killed it. Ben with the catchphrases and the punchlines. Richy Rich, man, you amped it up. Jalik the leader. I told you, man. See, you always trying to get on Lewis. You always trying to get on us. Look, you falling your ass up under this platform. Look, you learning, dog. See, even Ben had to check you real quick because you said Kashi instead of Kawhi. So you learning. You learning, dog.
I didn't even know I'd done it until you bring it out. You know how I be. I was on my phone typing. I'm not on my computer.
Understandable, Jalik. Just want to make sure, man, because when you said Kashi, I think you said something about like a healthy nutritious granola bar, which is you know what I mean, or
Not
Kashi from Naruto if you're into anime.
You gotta know the inside joke, Ben. I was battling. They all hate LeBron. You got Luis, aka Stat Tracker. He was reading from a script that he printed out, and they were that to debate me, and they thought they won. And then it was like 5 against 1 one day. So that's the little inside joke, bro.
That's cool though. That's your opinion. That's your opinion, Jalik. That's not factual. That's all I got to say about that, though. So,
well, there you go. I mean, it's very clear. Jalik, everybody on this panel know what time it is. You got Ethan and Merk. Just take your L, enjoy it, and see you're learning basketball now. Because guess what? You see how now when you don't cut against the grain with Lewis and you listen to Lewis, you get that NBA encyclopedia, and then now you sound better. See, now you talking basketball on a better level because you listening, though. You listening to the gems we dropping. You know, Big Castro, he had to tell you get out the snack bar and focus on basketball. Look, you learning, dog. Now you saying Kawhi. Richy Rich dropping napalms to say what the heck is wrong with you. Now you getting your head on straight. But Anthony L., I know you just checked back in. What's your take on what you got to say, brother?
Oh wait, Anthony L. Before you go any further, I got something to say with Jalik real quick. Okay, what I disagree when you said that Michael Jordan was a tyrant. He's no tyrant. He's an a-hole. He was an a-hole, but he does it in a good way. Same with Kobe Bryant. And there's no such thing as the word tyrancy. I looked it up. There's no tyrancy there. There's the word tyranny, but not tyrancy. Just want to check on that.
Anthony L., man, what's your take, brother?
Your opinion, bro.
Sorry about that. I had to take just a quick step away for a second. But what's the topic right now?
Closing out on the last end of it. You know, we were talking about the Lakers and the Clippers, what that whole fiasco is going to look like. What's your take on it? You know, and obviously the Lakers and the Clippers and the Nuggets.
I got the Clippers beating the Lakers in 6 because the Lakers hasn't really fully gotten exposed. It takes the right type of team to expose expose a team, and the Clippers and even Miami, because right now the way Miami is playing, they're playing at just a tad bit higher notch than both the Lakers and the Clippers right now. I gotta be honest, you know, I gotta keep it real. But as far as this next matchup, I got the Clippers beating the Lakers in 6. Like I was saying, like with Houston, that's just a team that self-destructs. And to be honest with you, I thought Portland put up a better fight against the Lakers than Houston, because people got to keep in mind, like Damian Lillard got hurt in that second game, I believe. He got hurt and dislocated his finger. Remember, they had to play without Collins, and they wasn't really using Carmelo right, even when he got hot. Because a lot of those games, even those games that they lost, those were close games, you know. It's just the Lakers ended up edging it out. So, and when you look at this Clippers team, they're a much superior team overall than both Portland and Houston. And that's what's leading me to go towards the Clippers in that particular matchup. Now, I want the Lakers to prove me wrong. You know, as much dislike and disdain I have for LeBron, you know, if the Lakers take care of business and do what they got to do, and they get to the finals and win the whole thing, then I'll give them their credit. But like I said, you know, right now um I'm not really excited about the NBA right now because like I said, that whole boycott that really disappointed me. You know, that one day, not even one day, less than 24-hour boycott that they did, it just showed me that they just got punked. You know, when the owners pulled out that contract and said, you know what, you go on with this boycott and we'll shred this and we just gonna have to renegotiate our contracts through this CBA agreement, you know. So it's like that lets me know that when money comes into play, like everything else don't matter, you know. It matters to a certain point until your own pockets get threatened. But see, that's the whole point of making a sacrifice. You're not gonna get the change that you're looking for unless you make the sacrifice. You have to be willing to sacrifice some things too, because even then, during the 60s, and I'm about to give you a little history lesson. When
Mhm.
Martin Luther King led that bus boycott, that was not an easy boycott to do. You got to think it was a convenience for them to get on the bus, even though they had to sit at the back of the bus. You know, you got to understand that they had an option: either not go along with the boycott and continue with the same status quo with things as they were, or not ride the bus and then sacrifice your feet getting hurt, sacrifice your feet being tired, sacrifice putting blisters on your feet and walking those extra miles to get to work, you know. But see, it eventually paid off. Was it easy? No. Did you have some people that gave up on it early and rode the bus? Yeah. But for the most part, they stayed the course because they knew how important it was to change those laws during that time. And they made the sacrifices needed to bring along the change that they wanted in terms of the way the laws were at that time. You know, but now it's almost like we forgot the struggle. You know, we're so used to seeing men and women public restrooms, we forgot that those restrooms used to say white only, colored
Mhm.
section only. We forgot that, you know, see, we're so used to going to restaurants and sitting where we want and eating at any restaurant we want. We couldn't do that back then, you know. They had to get their food from the back, you know. But that was part of the sacrifice that they made. You know, that was part of the whole purpose, you know, of making those sacrifices is that hey, you know, it's not gonna be easy right now. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna have days where you want to give up, but you gotta stay the course. You know, and that's when everybody has to come together and band together and say, you know what, we can build up our own community. We can look out for each other's kids. We can look
Mhm.
out for each other's families. It's not like that no more. Now it's just everything capitalism, everything money, everything is just about me and mine, F you and your family. Yeah, we talking about black people and black power and blah 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 blah. But F that when it comes to my luxury and my amenities and the things that I got going, I'm not messing that up for anything. I don't care how many people get shot by the police. I'm not messing that up for nobody until it
Mhm.
hits your doorstep. You understand what I'm saying? So that whole situation, with them ending that boycott like that, you know, that really disappointed me because you can't on one hand say this is bigger than basketball and continue playing basketball. If this is bigger than basketball, then you make it bigger than basketball by staying the course and sticking along with it. And the fact that they tried, I'm not gonna, they tried, but it's like I just don't believe in starting something you ain't willing to finish. I'm a type of person that when I start something, when I say something, when I do something, I like to finish. I like to finish what I started. That's just me. So eventually, I'm gonna come around to enjoying the game of basketball right now. But right now, it's too much going on right now. We got a pandemic that's still going on right now. We got
Mhm.
so much racism and social injustice and police brutality going on right now. They still haven't arrested the killers of Breonna Taylor. It's so much going on, and all I'm hearing right now from these players is lip service. They saying all the right things because it sounds good for them to say it. But when it comes down to making a sacrifice, nobody is nowhere to be found. And that's what I have a problem with. If you're gonna set your mind and your heart out to do something because you really care about what's going on in the communities, then act on it.
Right.
The whole voter drive is cool, but you got to take it a step further. We in like crazy trying times right now, and doing a voter drive, it just ain't enough to cut the mustard right now.
Mhm.
Like these athletes got so much influence. They could start they could start their own Black Wall Street, a whole new Black Wall Street if they wanted to, if they
Mhm.
pool their money and invest their money properly and come together and say, you know what, if y'all gonna act like this, we'll just start our own league.
Mhm.
We'll start our own businesses, and we'll employ our own. Yeah, we might have to make sacrifices along the way, but you know, we're gonna sting your pockets just as much as our pockets sting, you know. And the fact that they just couldn't stay the course and keep it going at least just a little bit longer, I was really disappointed in that. So to be honest with you, whoever wins, it's not gonna matter. It's not gonna change what's going on out here in these
Mhm.
streets. It's going to be an asterisk if the Lakers win it. It's going to be an asterisk if the Clippers win it. It's going to be an asterisk if Miami win it. And it's going to be an asterisk if Boston or Toronto win it, if they get there. So it really doesn't matter. This was a whole lost cause. You already lost 3 months of the season not doing nothing. So when these players came back, they wasn't in shape. Some of them wasn't in shape. They wasn't in rhythm. You had some players that decided to opt out of going to the bubble. Some players didn't want to go. And then you got some players that are there now that's not taking this whole pandemic thing serious. So it's like it's just an asterisk all the way around. And that's pretty much all I got to say about that. Um, right now my focus is on black empowerment, empowering my people, and getting us to the promised land. See, that's part of that wilderness part. See, a lot of people want to get to the promised land, but they don't want to go through that wilderness. You get so stuck, and you get so comfortable with being in bondage. You become immune to it. You become desensitized to it, and it's like the dog going back to his vomit. You know what I mean? It's like, why are we going backwards? Why we gotta go backwards? Why we gotta settle for any old thing that whatever the Democrats is presented towards us, whatever the Republicans we have the opportunity to put pressure on both sides and say, you know what, these are our demands. You can't meet it, you ain't getting our support. We're not going to campaign for you. You're not going to use my name. You're not going to use LeBron. This is how I would take it if I was LeBron. It's like, you're not going to pit me out there politically, use my name to get votes, but you're not willing to change things. You're not willing to make things better on behalf of black people, you
Mhm.
know? And that's what I have an issue with. And he's not even putting pressure on them on that end. He's just saying, "Oh, I'm gonna throw out my support for Biden." He's sitting up there talking with Jamel Hill, and Kerry Chapman saying, "Yeah, I'm a campaign for Biden." But what is he doing for you? What is he doing for
Right.
your kid? What is he doing for your family? What is he doing for Akron? What is he doing for your community? What is he doing for the black community as a whole? Nothing. He's gonna pimp you out like they do every 4 years, you know, and then once they done using you, they're gonna toss you aside, and then you're gonna be sitting up there talking about, well, what about your end of the deal? And they're gonna be looking at you like, what end of the deal? You know how it goes every 4 years, so it's too much going on right now. It's hard for me to get excited about basketball when every single morning you wake up, you got to hear about some innocent person or unarmed person getting shot by the police. and I'm supposed to sit up here and watch basketball and continue to worry about entertainment when you got so much going on out here in these streets. That's the problem. That's part of the problem. We so focused on being entertained, and we're not looking at the reality of what's going on. People is dying. People is dying from this virus. People is dying because of hate. People is dying because of racism, and we getting caught up in basketball when it's really not. It's nobody's gonna look at this. The Clippers ain't gonna get no credit. They're gonna say, "Oh well, they won." If they win a championship, they're gonna say, "Oh well, they won it because of a pandemic. They won it because not they won it playing in a bubble. That don't count. That's not a real championship. They didn't have to travel on the road, So either way it goes, they're not gonna get credit for it anyway. Same way with Lakers. If you hate the Lakers, they're gonna be saying the same thing. Oh well, the Lakers won, but they won during the pandemic. They won playing in the bubble. It don't matter. So either way it goes, everybody's gonna be looking at it as an asterisk, no matter who wins. So it's like, I mean, I know we talk about it because that's what we do. We chop it up, we talk sports, but you can't say something is bigger than basketball. You can't say I'm more than an athlete, and then you have one meeting with the owners, and then you get punked just like that. Just like that, you know? It's like, come on, they not. If you don't take yourself serious, how you expect anybody else to take you serious? How you expect these white folks to take you serious? And I'm not saying that to be racist, but that's just the truth of the matter. You can't expect nobody else to take you serious unless you take yourself serious first. If you're gonna talk about that action, be about it. And that's pretty much all I got to say regarding that. And I appreciate you bringing me on the panel, allowing me to speak my mind. Salute to everybody that's on the panel. Salute to everybody that's in the chat. God bless y'all. You guys take it easy.
That's what's up, man. Salute to you, Anthony L. Appreciate you, man. Lewis, let you get on that back end, bro.
All right, man. Well, first off, man, I want to thank, he knows continuously, every time he gets the opportunity to, invite me to the panel. Again, salute to Jalik, as always, man. Salute to Ben. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you, brother. Salute to Richy Rich, as always, man. Bringing in them name palms, man, when he gets on fire. You already know he knows what that heat and that fire. Anthony L, man, bro for life, man. I appreciate you coming on as well. I just wanted to piggyback off a little bit, just real quick. I'm not going to spend too much time. At the end of the day, we got to really stop looking at the government, because if you really understand the game that they play, they are looking for you to be dependent on them. That's why we're not solving anything. So the more dependent you are on them, they're winning. So they're looking at you and they're laughing at you, because as long as they continuously divide with what's together, they're winning. And that's what they want. So basically what we got to do is we pretty much have to check ourselves, honestly. Christian Butler made a good point on the athletes. We can't expect these athletes to do much. That's why I said that the opportunity was there when they weren't playing. So they already had the opportunity to do that. They just decided not to do it. And like I said, at the end of the day, capitalism was what won this battle at the end of the day. So that's what happened. Capitalism took over and they decided they were going to play. Then you're getting cold feet when Jacob Blake ends up getting shot and then decide to boycott less than 24 hours. So, and with all due respect, Anthony L, I just feel like that wasn't even worth anything, honestly, because it was less than 24 hours. So not even a full day or anything of that. If you would have told me like 10, 14 days, maybe I'll say something and see if anything was happening. But there was really no true sacrifice, to be honest, man. So these protests, honestly, don't really do anything, honestly, man. They're really not doing anything. And the thing is, you got to understand is that putting a hashtag slogan on a jersey, that's about brand. That's not you really making any change. That's because the thing is, you have to look at Nike. When you look at when you look at the communities, the black community, like anytime somebody dies, especially if it's a black person or if it's like, whatever type of gender that you associate with and stuff like that, they make money off of that. You look at all of the merchandise and all of the shirts that they make. They don't really give a damn about the human being. It's about, again, how can I market and how can I capitalize off of this opportunity? When they see somebody die, I can't breathe. they taking advantage of that. So basically, like when you look at these corporations, again, it's about how do I capitalize on the trending market? And that's what they've always done. And it's like, this should be no surprise. So at the end of the day, man, it's like, what we got to do is we got to really more so finding a way, again, educating ourselves. This whole boycott thing is really, it's really not stopping anything, especially when it's like the opportunity was there before. You just chose not to do it. The whole thing to start a black league, all of these guys could have came together, man, and you really could have really made a sacrifice and made change. But nobody's about that, because what Anthony L says is true. It's really about the whole me mentality right now, and that's the mindset. So like I said, man, you really have to really educate yourself. And honestly, just think about trying to just build, your community. Honestly, man, that's really where you could really honestly go from there, because you're not going to convince everybody. And at this point, everybody is just, if you look at our young generation, all they care about is entertainment. They want to be brainwashed right now to the entertainment. They could care less about what's going on in politics. They don't care about that. They just want to be entertained, because they grow up loving sports. Growing up with their fathers or their mothers who, if they were athletes or they grew up watching the team, that's all they care about. Like the true educators know that, honestly, you really have to learn more so about life. But, I'm going to just leave it on that, because I don't want to delve into too much, man. But I just had to say that real quick, because, again, like you really got to worry about yourselves and not and just try to build up, your way. And like I said, bring educated people around you that's going to think the same in terms of like building the community together, because you're trying to convince a whole army at this point where everybody is just focused on, what about us and depending on the whites. That's not going to work, man. And as long as you think that way, the same thing is just going to keep repeating itself. So at some point, you got to really start worrying about how you can build yourself and build the others around you that want to actually elevate, to get better. So that's the way I see it.
Hkhs, man. Everybody came in, they showed up and showed out. They dropped those napalms. As a matter of fact, I like the way that it ended off. It ended off on a serious note. We said what we had to say from a basketball perspective. I appreciate everyone that came and showed up in the panel. Jalik the leader, Ben Castro, Richy Rich, Luke Sports Network, and my boy Anthony L, man. Appreciate everyone that showed up and showed out. These are topics that we're going to continue to delve in along with basketball. This is why we talked about how this is a fraudulent, fluky, on-the-spot NBA title, and it's a least path of resistance NBA title, because we all are feeling in 2020 it's been real. 2020 is no joke. I like the chat. The chat is lit up because everybody can't agree, man, because if we agree, then it would just be boring. Let me say it again. If we all agreed, it would be boring, man. And these types of conversations are always going to be conversations that we can have. And that's what makes this platform unique, because although it's Hkhs' sport, it's really about, us talking about outliers of other topics on top of sports. That's what makes this platform unique. We could talk about so many different things, and everybody knows when they come to this hub, they can say whatever they have to say, you know what I'm saying, that it falls in line with what is going on in the world. And the world is crazy right now. There's a lot of stuff that's going on, and we just have to be of a mindset that we just got to stick together. And I get it on aspects of when we talk sports, how sports bring people together. And this is why, people cling to basketball and they cling to things like that, because they want to keep their minds in a positive state. But I just like the wealth of difference of opinions. And I just like the fact that everybody brought something to the table. So I appreciate everyone. We're running this shit back tomorrow. Hopefully everyone, I can get an acknowledgement from everyone now. Yes. We can run it back with the same panel tomorrow. I will send everybody emails, and we can actually talk about this conversation more in depth. Anthony L, don't worry about it. We're gonna cover this piece. But I appreciate everyone on this Thirsty Thursdays. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for all of the contributions that you guys bring. I appreciate everyone on the panel, your consistency. I appreciate everyone in the chat. Thank you for your consistency. Thank you for everyone that shows up and shows out on this platform. Appreciate you guys, man. That's all we all about here, man. Bringing that heat and that fire, man. Y'all make sure y'all check out my boy Lewis Sports Network. Subscribe to that brother's channel. Comment, like, and share. Jalik the leader. Subscribe to that brother's channel. Comment, like, and share. Ben Castro, I know it's been a minute, but appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming through. Richy Rich, you dropped them napalms. Appreciate you. Anthony L, I'm gonna start calling you the preacher, man. That's your new nickname, dog. You come in here and you be preaching and teaching, dog.
Preaching
So
sermons too for like 10 hours. I'm like, bro, let me get my notes out, bro.
you the preacher, dog. You the preacher, man. But the stuff you say is lethal, man. So I appreciate that, and I can understand where you come from. You know, being a fellow preacher myself, I understand where you're coming from when you be dropping them napalms, bro. So always, thank you for coming through. Thank you for everyone for answering the bell. Appreciate all of you guys, man. Y'all have a great Thursday. Be safe out there. You know what I'm saying? Remember, continue to practice social distancing. Make sure y'all keep y'all 6 feet parameters and space. Make sure you guys do what y'all got to do. You know what I'm saying? When it's all said and done, I appreciate everyone that showed up and showed out. We'll run this thing back again tomorrow. Thank you guys. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great Thursday. And anyone that's running lives or anything like that, if it's Lewis, make sure y'all flood to that brother's channel. You know what I'm saying? And do what y'all got to do. When it's all said and done, those that, you know, are focusing on the boxing side of things, I'm going to be running this boxing live stream right after this one. So y'all can stick around and jump on to the next one. But I appreciate all of y'all, man. Thank you for everything that y'all done. Again, thank you for your contributions to this platform. Appreciate y'all. Y'all be easy. That's what I'm talking about. Check out the NBA playoffs with Lewis Sports Network. Y'all be easy. Y'all do y'all thing. Tom Ross, if you available, you already know what time it is. I ain't even got to tell you. But y'all do y'all thing. Richy Rich, thank you. Jalik, thank you. Anthony L, thank you. Lewis Sports Network, thank you. And everybody in the chat, once again, thank you guys. Make sure y'all donate to the platform. Whatever y'all can give, whatever Sunday's best. Super chat, Cash App, you name it. Appreciate it. Thank you guys. Y'all have a great one. Peace.
Peace.